No. Quite frankly, you really hurt my feelings last week. I extended out my hand like a gentleman. And you really hurt my feelings, man. I mean, it was almost as bad as the time you quit, took your ball, and went home like a little bitch. And don't get it twisted, I respect you, man. I respect everything you've done. Hell, I even respect the fact that you're straight edge. Granted, never in my wildest dreams could I have possibly imagined a straight edge man could look so much like a meth addict. You didn't want to go toe-to-toe with me on the stick, punk? Well, too bad. Because I'm about to verbally finish you quicker than your UFC career.
I'm so disappointed in you. Look at me, Maxwell. I'm in your head. Probably has a lot to do with the fact that there's a poster of me on your wall. And you had 7 days. You had a whole week to think of good zingers, and you came out here with the lowest hanging fruit. He thinks he's somebody. He thinks what he does is revolutionary to the wrestling business, when in reality, he's just a less famous Miz.
You know, Punky, that was really solid. I mean, really creative stuff. You know, it was almost what I wanted. You know what, ladies and gentlemen? Something just hit me. This is no longer CM Punk. This is PG Punk. What happened to the guy I grew up on, man? What happened to the renegade, the ass kicker, the outsider? Because you might as well be coming out here preaching hustle, loyalty, and respect. Except here's the problem, PG. I can see you. Hell, I can see through you, buddy. You claimed you'd only come back for the younger talent, and yet you also claimed you'd only come back for a boatload of money. Whether it was the You Can't See Me man, or the King of Kings, you were never quite up to snuff, were you? And I can assure you, now that you're standing in my ring, in my company, things will be no different, because you may claim to be the best in the world, but I'm better than you, and you know it.
But trust me, I'm not scared any longer. Certainly not scared of you. Because the timing might not match up, but I was selling out Madison Square Garden when you were marking out for Rosie O'Donnell. And the last time on this show, you did a song and dance, you made the New York Times. Wow! You want to sing me a song right now, Maxwell? Don't worry. You're standing in the ring with a professional, and you're going to make the New York Times again, but this time it's going to be the obituaries. You're too busy talking about how you're the most powerful of the 4 pillars. You don't even realize you've been replaced by Brit Baker. The only way you're going to be number one is if we all wait around long enough for Tony to have a daughter that you marry.
That's some serious pro wrestling TV, let me tell you.
You're not kidding. Anybody surprised that he would roll under and leave?
Top of Wrestling with your hosts, O.D.M and the Professor.
Good shit. Late to every episode. Late so much, I'm going to have to buy you a pregnancy test.
Bob Roode.
I want to be a podcaster. Yay! His mama named Kenta. I'm going to call him Kenta.
Dynamite drop-in, Monty. That broadcasting school is really paying off for you.
That's a bold statement, Cotton.
Oh my God, mine just stopped recording. No, we're good. We're still recording.
What a dick.
I'd cease and desist me. I'd cease and desist me hard.
I need a minute to recover off that.
What kind of game is it?
War Games! Let a war game!
You're our impressionist.
Yeah, I know. That's the only thing I've said in the last half hour.
Bark like a dog.
Oh, Jinx, holy shit. How did that actually happen?
Here we go.
You know, my pappy always used to say that there's no crying in wrestling. And if two youths get in the squared circle, they should fight it out like they're Clubber Lang and Thunderlips. He who is face, even if he's just too old for this shit, must have no mercy. And the cowardly heel who lives to run away can run away another day. And if they don't know, don't show, work for the WWE, then they just don't know what's going on in the hood. I was born to lick your face and I'm ready to go. We're streaking! It is the Season 3 finale Top of Wrestling podcast. Woo! That may be a movie quote that's never all been put together before. I am the Professor, Mark Fantasia. You know that we always bring you some good wrestling, good flicks. We'll get into that a little bit later, but thank you so much for listening to us on iTunes, Spotify, Podbean, Amazon Music, Pandora, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Subscribe, like, and share, and now when you do, if you tag us, don't forget next season, Season 4, the 100th episode giveaway. So make sure to share any episode, any posts that we've done. As long as you tag us, you have been entered. 3,466 participants so far. I'm excited. This is awesome. Last week, our movie of the week. You knew what it was about, you filthy animals. It was Home Alone 1 and 2. I'm pretty sure it was pretty plain as day by like the second or third quote. I love talking movies. I love talking wrestling. And I love chatting each and every Wednesday with our co-host, the Doc, O.D.M.
The greatest trick O.D.M. ever pulled was convincing the IFW that the Kelly didn't exist. And like that, she's gone.
Yo.
Hey. Hi, Kelly.
Right after a week of probably one of the greatest back-to-back in-ring promos that we've seen, you come out with a mic drop about the Fantasy League. Yeah, people are a little sad.
Collusion.
They didn't win.
Asterisk. I don't like these words. You don't like it?
Collusion.
You don't like it? Get better.
That's what happens when you choose The Miz and he goes off to Dancing with the Stars. It is our season finale, and look, we got a lot of shit on the way. So we have your top topic, which we're talking about AEW's 3 years in the books. We're going to go over a lot of information on that with a top 25 AEW moments, if I'm not mistaken. But We'll also be talking about our Monday Night Wars, as we always do. We're going to let you know what you can expect for Season 4. But first, we have to start with a little bit of news. And then, of course, we all know the biggest news of the week. It happened a week ago, and we're going to get to it. But I do have to say one thing that just kind of caught me just laughing the other day is it said that Ric Flair said that when he dies, he doesn't want WWE to do a video package about him. He wants Tony Khan to do it. This is all in reference to that Ric Flair has been removed from your opening intro package. They're just not saying his name and stuff. Look, man, you're still on the network with all your matches and stuff. And he's saying he wants his old titles back, which is weird. I'm not sure who owns them. I mean,
I think Triple H has one in his office, and I don't know. Weekly Cornet reference, they talked about it there because they obviously are in that scene and they know all that shit. They reference, I think Triple H has one. I forget who has the other one.
So I think that it's funny that he's writing off WWE for writing him off. It's like, well, then I'm not going to talk to you. Yeah, we already said we weren't going to talk to you. Yeah, that's fine if you want to agree. You know what I mean? But yeah, you're fired. No, I quit. And this obviously is all in reference to the Dark Side of the Ring Plane Ride from Hell episode that appeared or that premiered just, I think, earlier or late this summer. Look, I don't want to be a dick. I'm just going to touch on this real quick. And no pun intended. God damn.
Yikes.
No. I'll just, and I said touch on this real quick. Maybe we should move on. I'm not ready for this segment this week. No. Look, man, you do the crime, you do the time. I hate to say it just so you don't cliche or whatever it is. Look, man, people told a story about you. Multiple people are like, oh, yeah, that's exactly what he was doing. And I felt really bad for that stewardess or flight attendant. So, to be honest with you, man, you can't get mad at WWE for them doing them. But another thing, speaking of family drama, weirdly enough, Andrade unfollows Charlotte on Twitter.
Really?
That's a weird thing. I don't know why that's even a thing to even watch. There's really not a whole lot going on in wrestling. Maybe it's because last Wednesday, Thanksgiving Eve, to me, Thanksgiving Eve used to be one of my favorite times because it did mean Survivor Series. And I'm talking about 89, 90, 91. Those ones were on Thanksgiving Eve. Those are the ones I remember when I was a kid. And they're like, it's the Thanksgiving tradition. Then it became, it's in November. I swear, one of them was like November 9th. I was like, thanks for taking that away from me. I'm like, I like the whole
right
night before, and because
Absolutely.
Everybody's going to be watching football the next day. So,
speaking of football,
shit.
I'm sorry not to cut you off, but speaking of football, hit the music.
The Bills make me wanna shout. Kick your heels up and shout. Throw your hands up and shout. Throw your head back and shout. Come on now, the Bills are making it happen now. Stand up now, come on and shout. Yeah, 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 yeah. Let's go, Buffalo. Let's go, Buffalo. Let's go, Buffalo. Let's go, Buffalo. The Bills make me wanna
boo! Not to the Bills, but to that transition. Hey, you know what? You boo me every now and then. I just finally got one in at you.
Yeah,
but
that's all right. Actually, you got one last week. That's fine.
Hey,
not on me.
forget
Yeah,
about,
that's true. Yeah. So.
No, yeah. But let's not forget about last week. My intro to the Monday Night Wars and then coming out of the Monday Night Wars opener. I was like, oh my God. I re-listen back and I go, yeah, we should have started over. I was like, no, we're fine. It's good. Let's go. No, man. Thanksgiving Eve used to be one of my favorite times for wrestling, and I was excited to see that Dynamite had, a show, of course, that night, and they even referenced it. JR said, what is an AEW tradition? It's Thanksgiving Eve, Dynamite. And I was like, it is, because, this is the second or third one now, right? Third. This is the third Dynamite that has been on Thanksgiving Eve. I think that's just, at least we got some wrestling that night. You, that night, were at the Trans-Siberian Orchestra. I, myself, was kind of putting on a clinic and putting a show on. But after I finally get the chance to watch Dynamite, and I send you a text, I'm like, bro. So, we laughed at some of the card last week. We're like, okay, Bryan Danielson, Cole Cabana, that's cool. That'll be all right. But then I was like, Punk versus Cutie Marshall. I'm like, where the fuck does this go? That's stupid. I'm like, especially after Punk walking out and stiffing MJF the week before, or punking him out, as you said. Punk comes out, opens it up in Chicago, place is erupting, and just when he's just standing on the apron, the music quickly changes to MJF. Okay, wasn't expecting this. It's way... All right, I have a debate about this in my head. Really, I have like two sides arguing it, and I'm not sure. And I waited to bring it here today to even talk about it. You and I haven't said shit other than, oh my God, I'm glad our season finale still hasn't happened. We have a chance to still talk about this.
Yeah, right.
Because
we're going to talk about it later, yeah.
Exactly. But did you, let me ask you first, did you think that Punk and MJF was going to be this early in Punk's tenure in AEW? Because we both know that they're best on the mic.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say I had it singled out. It definitely was on the list of dream opponents, but, that's one of the things with Punk. It's like, okay, what does he do? Because there's so much he could do. I think we were all a little shocked that he started with Darby, but it worked. It was what it was. It was a mutual respect thing, and they went the distance. They recreated the match between Hitman and 1, 2, 3 Kid, so that was kind of cool.
I love that. Do you think, I don't know if you and I ever really, really touched base on that.
We didn't.
I know that because it happened after and everything like that. But, do you think Waltman was just sitting there going, God, wait, wait, if he does that, oh my God. There was a lot of things they did. Even, the quick little Punk doing the same look, oh, shit, Kid's got it. Same as Bret does to Tammy. It was just, I loved it. But I personally didn't think that Punk and MJF would be meeting at any time soon. The only reason I say that is because I was like, all right, MJF cannot get into a feud that he's going to lose. But right now, Punk is undefeated, right? Now, his opponents, I think, have been semi-questionable until this fucking promo, to be honest with you. And we're going to get into that. I wanted to ask you if you thought it was too early or you just didn't have a real timeline like you said.
Yeah.
Me personally, I think it was, you know what? I didn't think it was the time, but if you guys think it's the time, for real, think about this. If Punk, of all people, thinks, yeah, it's the right time to pull the trigger on this, he wanted to do this the right way. The fact that I even caught it, I don't know if I ever said it to you. Maybe we didn't. When Punk was talking about all the people he wanted to face in AEW, I was like, how come he's not saying Maxwell's name? That seems odd to me. Maybe I only had it in my own head, but I was like, I'm sure he meant to say it. But every press thing was that way. Has this been deliberate all along, as we're finding out in the promo? I don't know. I loved the strategic setup of this back and forth promo. Punk doesn't even have a mic in his hand. He just sits in the corner, chilling, listening. And MJF goes a couple of minutes, and then finally Punk gets his retort for a couple of minutes, and then MJF retorts for a couple of minutes, and then it closes with Punk for the couple of minutes with the final needle dick hit. I like that it was just that structured. It wasn't a stupid argument, lots of questions, things back and forth, you know what I mean? Like, it was, we're both going to have just 2 parts that we have to play in this each for a big 4-part drama to set up this whole scenario. I don't care if they even lock horns, and I don't think they will until, it's not going to happen probably till at least Revolution. So, do you have notes on the promo at all, or do you just want to fire off what you want to say? Because obviously there's some big points of it, but I want to hear what your thoughts are. I just wanted to start with by saying that the 1, 2, 3, 4, done. How it was. Just so you know what I'm saying? Like how it was just, they both had 2 parts to play in that. It wasn't, do you understand what I'm saying about how many promos just go back, forth, too much? This was, I have a lot of shit to say. It was just well spoken, not scripted, but well set up, I think. Execution wise, you don't get any better than this, I don't think. O.D.M, take it away.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to pick a place to even start here.
That's my point.
I think, Mike, this is the hottest thing in wrestling right now. This is the hottest thing. This has the most potential of anything going on in wrestling, probably all year. Let's be quite honest. Let's hope it's a slow burn. Let's not rush this. Let this take time. Let it marinate. I don't think it's rushed. I think it's the perfect time. You're probably right. Punk probably purposely did it, and they probably discussed it and said, I'm not purposely going to leave your name out, and we're going to come back to it. It's a callback. Mm-hmm. The reason this was so good is because it wasn't scripted. In WWE, they script promos. They basically
That's what I'm talking about. It seems like it wasn't. It was just one man yelling and arguing at his point, then a counter, and then the same, and then a counter, done. Like a real argument, as opposed to you did this. Blah, 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 blah. That's everything WWE does, and it sucks.
You have a writer trying to script a conflict. That's not real.
Yeah.
This was real. Yeah. This was real. MJF got the shaft on the handshake. Punk never mentioned him. There's your catalyst. And that lets MJF do his thing, and then, like you said, Punk retorts. Some people say, why you got to bring WWE into it? You can kiss my ass because I popped for every fucking thing that they said. It's
every second.
Because they're not going out of their way to talk shit about WWE. They're talking about real things that Punk was involved with because he worked there. They're all real things.
And that is something that WWE has failed to capitalize on forever. My biggest one that I've always talked about is WrestleMania 27. All of a sudden, Triple H and Undertaker, it's their first time at WrestleMania, and they forgot legitimately a decade before that is when Triple H and Undertaker tore the house down right before Austin and Rock. I mean, it's mind-boggling that they forget about that kind of stuff.
Selective
They
memory.
never call back. Like, another time, call back. Like you saying, you just, it's smart wrestling. You need a story. Why do I want to beat you up? Because, you talked about my UFC career lasting only a couple of seconds. But you know what? If you let the Acclaimed do it, you just lost out on something. You let them have a cheap little pop, and we're all going to forget it. You let MJF be the first person to bring up your UFC career, no one ever needs to say it ever again. That's it. No one will ever do it, and I don't think it's ever needed. Jesus. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I've always thought it was weird that Punk is... I mean, some people are just... this sounds weird. People are just formed the way they're formed. I always thought it was weird, the giant bags under that dude's eyes, and I'm like, and you're really straight edge? Like, nothing at all? To call him a meth head? Jesus. Like, they came swinging hard. MJF came swinging hard. And then you got Punk with the retorting of my jealous fan and the poster on the wall. Then you have less famous Miz. No bullshit. Threw my arms in the air. Watched us absolutely alone. No one's in the room, and I go, oh, to myself, and I go, no one's here. Okay.
Shots fired.
Like you said a minute ago, is it wrong to take the shots at WWE? Not shots, but bringing those things up. Mm-hmm. They didn't say anything about the competition. If anything, he just gave Miz a compliment, saying, hey, man, this is one of our hottest guys over here, and you're still better. Kind of gives him that in a small, minute way. But also, you're just saying, and you failed against Triple H and John Cena. Those are real things.
Mm-hmm.
So, if anything, they're not talking shit. They're bringing up real shit.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. And I love it. Why can't you bring it up? What? You can't work at one company, and then if you go to another company, you never worked anywhere else ever again.
Exactly.
You know, one thing I will say is earlier today, just speaking of people working in a different company, I did see John Morrison's very long, heartfelt video about being let go by WWE. And for someone I really would like to see in AEW, I'm sorry, I know we keep wanting guys in there. He's one I would think would be a perfect fit with every luchador, every fast-paced guy you got going. Morrison, I think, could be a good mind to work with. I'd like to see him in AEW, the more I think about it, just personally. And he could bring his wife that you have to put a bag on her head. But back over to Punk and MJF. What, was that too soon?
No, sure.
No, sure. No, sure. That was one of them. A lot of great digs. You have the Cena one. What was the other?
I can still see you.
That, oh my God.
Punk saying to him, he's like, the only way you're going to be popular is if Tony Khan has a daughter and you marry her. Now that was a shot at Triple H right there.
Yup, that was the return shot, the receipt. I thought that one of my favorite parts was him bringing up that the Second City thing. One of my favorite things. Okay,
yeah,
when you do kind of like a rap battle, right? Mm-hmm. Or any kind of thing where you're facing off or you're talking shit on a promo, really. You got to take what someone has said to you and turn it around. Flip the script in a way. Do something that is in reference to that. Taking the whole, you've never been anything better than second best. In the Second City, you know, he is the Second City savior in Chicago. What better place to do that? MJF, probably one of my best, my favorite moments of him ever on the mic. It's funny. Every MJF moment is the best MJF moment.
Minus the dinner debonair.
Oh my God. You made LA Times for singing. Do you want to sing me a song? But now you're going to make it for the obituaries. That's the point. There was so much. Look, I don't know if they sat backstage, how long I don't think they scripted it, but I think they were like, I'm going to hit this.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah. But got to be a fly on the wall to watch the creative juices flowing for that one right there. You know what I mean? Like, it's just,
oh yeah,
yeah, hit me with that. That's the shit. I want to see MJF not be a dick and like backstage working with someone like that. You know what I mean? I'm like, I can only ever see him just being a full dick, so I assume he's like that all the time.
That's what I want to see. See, I like that, though. I like that because kayfabe's dead. It's been dead for a while, and there's too much behind-the-scenes shit. I don't want...
So be a fucking dick all the time.
Right. I don't want to hear fucking Eddie Kingston talking about how, you know, whoever he's feuding with is the greatest wrestler, he loves him. Like, no, I don't want to hear that. I know it's fake. I know it's an illusion. I know, you know, but... Don't tip your hand too much.
Speaking of Eddie Kingston, until I listened to Cornette Experience, I did not realize until listened to him that every Eddie Kingston promo is being interrupted. He never gets to actually finish a full promo. And now, after watching that, last couple weeks, you see him go, again. All right, and he goes, I'm going to catering. Next one, he's in catering trying to eat cake, and he's getting messed with and shit. I was like, okay, I kind of enjoy this because he doesn't have to fully cut a promo. Every time he goes to start one, he gets interrupted. I think it's a funny trend. I will say that all right, so I'm going to skip just a half a hair ahead. I am in Florida right now. I'm a couple hours away from Orlando. And it's being rumored that on Sunday, March 6th, it's Revolution in Orlando. We've already talked about it, the wife and I. If that is exactly where it's going to be, we're pulling the trigger, we're going. I may be getting to see Punk and MJF, man. I may lose my friggin' mind.
That'd be insane.
Yeah. So, just throwing that out there. Look at this promo was perfect back and forth. And I got to be honest, my favorite thing that a heel can do, your word that I love that you use is powder. MJF goes, yeah? Oh, you want to fight? After the needle dick comment, starts taking things off, and then bam, quickly rolls out of the ring, grabs his shit, and gets out of there. And I go, this could go on for months, and it's going to be perfect. One can cost the other the match. That's all you need is just hit your music, you do that. Or, I swear to God, when Punk's music, because of last week, with their handshake and shit, when Punk's music hit, about, I don't know, maybe about a quarter of me was like, what if this is MJF coming out to punk the crowd because of it's in Chicago? And he didn't. But you can do that. Do you know what I'm saying? Like
he's done it before.
This can go on for so long. I'm so excited. This, like you said, it reignites wrestling, storytelling, storylines. It's not just we're battling for the belt back and forth. Kind of like what Lucha Brothers and FTR are doing. Look, I'll easily admit when AEW is doing good shit and bad shit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like seeing FTR and Luchas together. It's not a good mix. I think it's just two totally different styles. I would love to see FTR get the title so they can actually do real wrestling with tag teams and get back to that rather than the Lucha Libre shit. But the next part that's written here, I want you to talk about it. Oh, God. I haven't seen something like this in ages.
So fucking great. Basically, they're setting up the sting between the Gun Club and Darby and Sting. And Sting's out on the ramp, and the Guns go after Sting. And fucking out of the tunnel like a cannon shot. We've talked about this, the whole cannon shot thing. Is fucking Darby Allin, and he just throws this flying shoulder tackle. Dude, we've seen him do that where he launches himself out of the ring and into the barricade. This was insane. And the camera angle was perfect the way that they caught it, because he just came flying like a bullet.
So we have Billy and Colton. That's the Gun Club.
Colton, yep.
And then what's the other one? Junior? Billy Colton Jr.? I don't know. All right, so Billy Colton Jr. is the one that ran out there. And, dude, like what you're saying is shooting out like a cannon. When he hits that barricade, the barricade doesn't have to feel anything. I want to know what Billy Colton Jr. felt, because that looked like it hurt. There is no way he did the absolute perfect bump where he was like, I'm going to go down at the right time. It looked like he got knocked the fuck out. It was one of the hardest hits. I rewound that so many times. One thing I got to go back on, MJF and Punk. How many times have you watched that 18-minute promo?
A few times. I'll probably watch it when we're done with this. That's the thing. You bring it up. It was 18 minutes. You got to figure that was 18 minutes, and it flew by.
Oh, my God. Did it ever? And you're like, that was 18 minutes? Well, I got time, man. We don't need the other matches tonight. But, dude, I've watched that, no bullshit, in full 4 times. It is absolutely just, it's one of those things that when you see it so many times over and over. The pipe bomb is something I watched like 4, 5, 6 times when it happened back in 2011. He even calls out the pipe bomb. You know, I mean, Punk has always been known for pipe bombs, but he says, your infamous pipe bomb, but that's pretty much all it goes, huh? I mean, it was just, dude, oh my God, take my money. Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yep.
I'm going to get a front row seat. Not really. So I did, you know, one thing to note is that at the end of the broadcast, Jim Ross had said out loud, hope you guys have a great Thanksgiving and I'll see you guys down the road. And I was like, weird. But then to come to find out, not weird because I knew about the stuff, but he did treatment earlier in the day, shows scars on his shoulder and like back area, and then goes, see y'all Dynamite tonight. I think he was just like, it's Chicago. I can't not be there for this. I'm not sure what it was, but he pulled one more night in there. But he gave us one more for the road. One more Jim Ross slip. So, Jamie Hayter lost to someone.
Thunder Rosa.
Thank you. And Jamie Hayter got mad because DMD and Rebel kind of cost her the match. And he goes, oh, she's kind of getting mad at Sasha Banks. And I go, holy shit. Oh, no. It was either Sasha Banks or Bianca Belair. No, he said Sasha Banks. Yeah, he goes, kind of getting mad at Sasha Banks. And then just stopped, and I go, holy shit. Yep.
Yikes.
Yeah. Go back and find that. That was a good one. If you can find an unedited version, that's exactly what he said. And I was like, poor dude. But I was like, but I don't want to mock him. You know, here's the deal. He's still the legend. And the more I think about it, especially as you and I are going to get into our top topic today, AEW needed an old school wrestling voice that drew you in. That's Southern style wrestling. Gives a fuck if he messes up. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't have someone screaming in his ear 24/7 like Michael Cole does with Vince McMahon. So, you know what? I give him a pass. You're gonna mess up. Shit, how many times do we mess up on this show? So, I mean, and he's older. But at least just don't call talent from the other company, I think. That's just kind of... He did call it, thanks for tuning in to WWE Dynamite the one night. And I was like, oh, bro. So what was the match? I'm trying to remember. You said NXT alums close out the show for Dynamite.
Yeah, it was like a weird 8-man. It was the Lucha Brothers, it was Pac, and... I can't remember who the other person was. I think it might have been
you
Cody.
know what? You're right. Hang on. So it was Cody, Pac, and the Lucha Brothers taking on FTR and Malachi Black and Andrade. Oh, it really was an NXT show. Wow. Holy shit. Minus
and they
Lucha
won.
Brothers.
Yeah, and they won. So just think about that. You know, you had FTR who put on a bunch of great tag team matches, went up to the main roster, buried. Andrade called up to the main roster, had a tag match with Angel Garza versus the Street Profits 20 weeks in a row. Buried. Malachi Black, they added squeaking to his fucking, kick up. Just buried. He had good matches with Buddy Matthews. That was about it.
He's one I'm waiting to show up somewhere. He just had a match with Kazuchika Okada. I'm not sure if you caught that. That's kind of crazy.
No, I didn't. He actually just had a match with Black too. On an independent team somewhere, yeah.
The WrestleCade, I believe it was. Actually, it was Matt Hardy versus Enzo, and Enzo had Big Cass with him, and Shannon Moore came to the aid of Matt Hardy. It was pretty cool. I liked it.
Nice.
But you're right. It was showcasing all those guys. The only one thing I wish they did, since it was an 8-man tag, just a tiny little bitch slap to WWE's face, you should have made it an elimination. That's the only thing I would have asked you for Thanksgiving Eve, is make that an elimination match. Yeah, I would have been fine with it. However, you had a lot of stuff on the show that you had to do. Plus, not to mention, Bryan Danielson kicked the fucking teeth out of Colt Cabana. Not even a phrase. He legitimately kicked teeth out of his mouth. Now, I've seen where some guys have like fake teeth and they pop them out and shit. That's not this. This is a molar, and where he's being kicked, he like on this cheek and how he, if you watch back how he got hit, oh yeah, no, he got kicked right in the mouth for some teeth to pop out, and it was great. Danielson just holding him in his hand, outstanding. Riho, I see, did show up on Rampage, and now she's gonna have a chance to face Britt Baker.
She beat Britt Baker.
Yeah. Oh my God! That's one of the best parts of the Punk MJF promo. You're talking about the four pillars, and you don't even realize you've been replaced by Britt Baker, bro. Another time my hands went up in the air, I go, oh my God, someone really has been. Who is it? I'm gonna probably say Sammy Guevara, but
probably
that's not a bullshit, man. She really is. Like, dude, oh my God, that's the second time Punk has mentioned her on live TV. And then there's video that post Dynamite, he came out wearing her red jacket. Find that on YouTube. That's some fun. I love that she's getting so much.
She's fantastic.
Oh my God.
We've watched it. We've documented it on this podcast, her ascension.
Yep. So I'm thinking perhaps at Revolution, we're probably going to get Riho versus Britt Baker. Maybe a 2 out of 3 falls match, which could not be bad though, because Riho really is a decent wrestler. Britt Baker has gotten way better over the last couple of years, and especially doing her heel work. We may actually get a pretty decent match out of it. I'm going to give hope on that one personally, but that looks like where they're going. Now you got Nese and Guevara. What happened?
So Tony Nese was being interviewed by Shivani, and he's talking about, where he wants to set his sights, and he says the TNT title would be a good place to start. And basically, Nese just calls out Guevara. Guevara comes out, accepts the challenge. So looks like we're going to be getting that match. I don't know if I want Nese to win that quick, but it's good exposure. It's better than having
buried Jay Lethal on the first shot. They're
That's
going to do it to
what
Tony
I'm
Nese.
saying. That's what I'm saying. I didn't like that. But so we'll see where that goes. Nese, to me, again, it's a tough one, having him take on people that are just debuting. I don't think it's a great look, but yeah, whatever.
You still don't see that he kind of looks like Wiesner?
Tony Nese?
Yeah.
A little bit.
I think he does.
A little bit.
Well, let's talk about what we got going on tonight for Dynamite. We have an Atlanta street fight between Cody and Andrade Del Rio. Chris Statlander versus Ruby Soho in the quarterfinals for the TBS tournament. Bryan Danielson is continuing to not only kick the fucking heads in of all the Dark Order, but also kick their fucking teeth out. Up next is number 5, Allen Angels. And that's the one that I believe that just had the match with Kenny Omega just
I think so, yeah.
Yep. And then I didn't realize this, but it's the battle of 2 undefeated teams. But it's like, really? What has Darby and Sting done? But Darby and Sting are taking on the Gun Club. So, Darby and Sting should probably win that one. If Gun Club goes over, please don't tell me that we're going to get a Billy Gunn and Darby Allin feud coming up, because not sure I can really handle that. I'm about to tout the living shit out of you guys in the second half of this show today, so please don't do that. But, of course, Revolution 2022 is coming up. This is our last episode of the season, so a lot of matches are probably going to form throughout December. But Revolution is rumored to be in March. We'll be back in January, so we'll have time to talk about it. But for one last time in Season 3 as well as 2021, let's get the tables.
Just bring it, bitch!
Oh my God! It's been a great season, and we both had kind of the same ideas to what we wanted to do for our Bring It to the Table. A little different. Generally, we're not that technologically savvy, I think, if you want to call it, when it comes to a weekly production thing, but give us some time and we can do some fun shit. That being said, I see that you have a little medley, as we'd like to call it, for your Bring It to the Table, and I have a medley of compilation myself. So why don't you do me a favor, talk about yours, and what are we about to understand that we're getting here?
Well, this year we've been doing the theme of obviously good flicks and good wrestling. So as part of the good flicks, we like to open with a quote and end with a quote. And part of the hilarity that ensues is not only the quotes themselves on the outro, but me attempting to mimic a wrestler while doing so. Sometimes it wasn't too bad. Sometimes it was an absolute shit show. But just hearing certain wrestlers say certain quotes just led to gold. So I took so we just put together a little best of, and yeah.
You're right, because I mean, I just, not to spoil anything here, but you're right. Like, it led to comedy gold. I think nothing probably will ever be Ultimate Warrior. I think that was probably my favorite one of the season. So yeah, I guess here we go. Take a listen.
The Top of Wrestling presents At the Movies with O.D.M.
Bruh, you know how popular I am? I'm so popular. Bro, everybody loves me so much at this school.
You sure are, pal.
Okay, bro.
Join us as we take a trip through cinema history, covering all the emotions of the silver screen, like shit-talking.
Is he right? Because I know that's the popular version of what went on there, and a lot of people like to believe that. I wish I could, but I was there. I wasn't in a classroom hoping I was right thinking about it. I was up to my knees in rice paddies with guns that didn't work, going in there, looking for Charlie, slugging it out with him, while pussies like you were back here partying, putting headbands on, doing drugs, listening to the goddamn Beatle albums. Oh!
You better pray to the god of skinny punks that this wind don't pick up, baby, because I'll come over there and jam an oil right up your ass, baby.
I bought a suit. You seen it. Now it's covered in mud. This town doesn't have a 1 hour cleaner, so I had to buy a new suit. Except the only store you can buy a new suit is got the flu. Got that? The whole store got the flu, so I had to get this in a second-hand store. So it's either wear the leather jacket, which I know you hate, or this. So I wore this ridiculous thing for you, you Jezebel.
I'm gonna stab your heads off with my dick! Yeah! And blood's gonna come out of your head. There's nothing you can do about it because I'm a madman!
Hey, yo. You
Was that Mankind?
ain't shit. You, just like your daddy. You don't do shit, and you never are gonna amount to shit. All you do is eat, sleep, and shit.
And words of wisdom that still ring true today.
Bro, your revolution is over, alright, Mr. Professor? Condolences. The bums lost. My advice, do what your parents did. Get a job, sir. The bums will always lose. You hear me, Professor? The bums will always lose. I'm not Andrew Dice Clay. I'm Enzo Murray. Bro, Dusty's my mentor. It's easy to grin when your ship comes in. Woo! And you've got the stock market beat. But the man worthwhile is the man who can smile. Yeah. When his shorts are too tight in the seat. Woo!
Was that during the Dark Side of the Ring?
They say all men are created equal, but I say stupid is as stupid does.
Randy, I'm sitting in the swing that you made for me, and I just want you to know, you don't kill people you don't know. That's a rule. And who doesn't enjoy a good love story?
I was in the Virgin Islands once. Met a girl. We ate lobster. Drank pina coladas.
Gold dust.
And at sunset, made love like sea otters. 1993.
It's good shit. You know what? I am a man who will fight for your honor. I'll be the hero you're dreaming of. We'll live forever knowing together that we did it all for the glory of love. Sometimes in the heat of passion, the little head tells the big head what to do. And the big head should think twice about what you're doing. God, I'm Irish.
And we've even included adult content.
Well, I guess I deep down, I'm feeling a little confused. I mean, suddenly, you get married and you're supposed to be this entirely different guy. I don't feel different. I mean, take yesterday, for example. You're out at Olive Garden with Chavo for dinner, which was lovely.
And I happen to look over at a certain point during the meal, and I see a waitress taking an order. And I found myself wondering what color her underpants might be. Her panties. Odds are they're probably basic white cotton underpants. But I do think maybe they're silk panties. Maybe it's a thong. Maybe it's something really cool I don't even know about, you know? And
I don't even know.
What? Well, I thought we were in the tree trust in the nest, were we not?
Let me tell you what Like a Virgin is about, okay? It's all about a girl who digs a guy with
God, Pulp Fiction.
The entire song is
No, Reservoir Dogs. Reservoir.
Like a virgin is not about a sensitive girl who meets a nice fella. No. That's what True Blue is about. No arguing about that, okay? Let me tell you what.
No argument about that.
It's all about this goose who's a regular fuck machine. Oh yeah, I'm talking morning, day, night, and afternoon, okay? Dick. A lot, okay? And then one day, she meets this John Holmes motherfucker, okay? And it's like, oh, baby! I mean, this kid is like Charles Bronson in The Great Escape. He's digging tunnels. Now she's getting that serious digging, okay? She's feeling something she ain't felt since.
Did he ever really do this promo? I think he should have.
Pain, okay?
Pain!
You know, her pussy should be like bubblegum by now, okay? But when this kid fucks her, it hurts. It hurts like it did the first time. You see, and that pain is reminding the fuck machine of what it was once like to be a virgin. Hence, like a virgin. Oh, yeah! The warrior says she made me want to go out and buy rubbers right now.
You slammed her. You dunked her donut. You gave her a dog a sausage. You stuffed her like a Thanksgiving turkey.
Yo, well done. I am impressed. All right, man. First, your editing skills. Top notch. Love it. Everything was perfectly put together. I'm not going to lie. I didn't, do something as, I didn't do pre-recorded intros as you did. Because it's hard to pre-record when people don't even know maybe what we're even talking about in like 95% of the context of what I'm about to talk about. Let me ask you all a question. When our episode is over, do you just kind of wait until Nightwing says, thank you guys so much for your continued support. Without you, we'd be nothing. Do you just stop right there? Because we took the route of the Dookie album from Green Day, and I think it didn't really start until about maybe episode 5, 6, 7, somewhere in there, that we decided to start throwing in some hidden tracks. Who's listening? Who's really listening to everything that we are talking about? And these hidden tracks are things that, once we get going and we hit record, shit goes off the cuff, before we officially go live. Then we take a smoke break or a drink break or a piss break or a chicken nugget break. And when we come back, we chit-chat before we're getting ready for things like Top Topic and Monday Night Wars. And it was just too easy to not present you guys, with some funny shit. I wouldn't even call them bloopers. I would say this is probably the best of season 3, just things that no one actually heard. So, O.D.M, are you ready for my present to you for Christmas?
I can't fucking wait.
All right, man. Well, let's give it a play.
We done 4 already, but now we're steady, and then they went 1, 2, 3, 4.
Did you happen to see Drave Maverick really had to pee on command? Did you ever read that?
I did, yes.
How far would you go for your job?
I don't know if it would be that far. That's for damn sure.
You're so high you don't even know it.
Ahoy, my boy. You ready for a Scotch ad?
And he likes it to be strong style.
Just like my porns.
Take a break.
All right. Oh, yeah. Pisser time.
Oh, yeah.
Beef jerky time.
I don't know what that means, but good luck. Benoit, enjoy my wife.
That was terrible.
Whatever, fuck off. I think your dad and my dad should go bowling together.
You should get these nice cases. That boy has some nice cases. You can probably talk to him, find out where to get them from.
I should go out and buy, like, as many of the kids' ones as possible. You know what I mean? Like the toy ones. And get, like, a bullshit case and put them together.
Oh, dude, that's awesome. You know what you could do to make it even better? Just get a bunch of, like, wire hangers and just hang them from those.
No, even better, dude.
Go in the closet and flip through them like they're shirts or something.
I'm going to go work the other half of this blunt.
Oh, okay. I got scared the way you paused after saying work the other half of them. Like he's got a chub or something, or
this was such an exciting conversation that yeah.
You got to work on the timing, bro.
I know. That's why I wasn't happy with it.
Like, do you ever notice that white guys walk like this and black guys walk like this?
Hey, what's up, brother?
What the fuck? I'm gonna make them all by paper like I used to when I was a kid. Just make a bunch of fucking championships.
I'm not bullshitting you, man. I got stinking shit-faced on the drive back. Jackie left me, and that son of a bitch over there keeps telling me to do the podcast when he knows I'm shit-faced. Anybody throws me against the boards, I'm gonna piss all over myself.
And cough. And I'm just kidding. And clap.
Jesus.
Choking on your chicken nuggets over there, brother?
Yeah, pretty much. Choking on the nuggies.
Now, the top 50 Big Show turns as a top topic.
No, that requires way too much effort.
Coming in a tie, all number one.
Exactly, there you go. Ba-dum-bum.
He's gonna deflower her in the top.
Ew.
I know it. It's delayed.
Do a clap thing.
3, 2, 1. Oh, never mind. Exactly.
All right, hold on.
Wait, how'd that go?
I'm not doing it again. What the fuck was that?
I was like, kids? No. Requiem for a Dream? No.
Ass to ass.
Speaking of piss, isn't it funny how people are like, oh my god, Kenny Omega, he wins every match. Oh my god, they push him so much. It's the same fans who are like, oh, Roman Reigns, oh my god, piss on my mouth, I love you. Alright, I'm gonna go take a break. Did you ever happen to see the time that Tiger posted like 15 pictures of her on that group?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I've seen it.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, tell me about it.
I've seen it. Yeah, like that's why I chose Big E.
We'll get there.
You gotta nail it.
Well, I always gotta nail it, man. That's the thing.
It's not the size that counts. It's how you use it.
No. A chastity belt? That's going to chafe my willy.
3, 2, 1. Oh, too late. Shit. Gotcha.
KFabeNews.com. Trusted source for all your wrestling news. It's KFabeNews.com. I'm walking away and Jake goes, you're a dumbass. I go, I know. She's like, not. She was talking to the dog.
Oh my god, that's funny because the other day, Hillary goes, stop licking your butt. And I go, I didn't know you could see me. I knew she was talking to the dog.
I was going to say, I figured you actually probably liked the volleyball scene. Probably looked like Jim Duggan digging the tape out of his crotch.
I gotta stretch my legs.
All right, yeah, sounds good.
You know who can't stretch his legs? Little Chris. He's in a fucking wheelchair.
Jesus Christ. Now that's how you fucking transition. That's how you transition right there.
You want to say something nice about the deceased? Well, how do you know he was nice? We don't know anything about him. The only thing he's got in his wallet is a bunch of names of whorehouses. And I was like, that's Flair. I stutter clapped. I'm an idiot.
him post cerebral palsy.
You didn't see what I was doing? I was pinching the left side of my face.
It looked like you were holding a like when people do mics on the side.
The right side of my face.
You just did stroked out JR.
Oh my god. That's
Sometimes it's about the things that you didn't know that were going on. I think that may all that stuff right there, I think could be just the sum of everything that was all of season 4. All of the season 3, I mean, all the backstage shenanigans.
Some of our funniest moments, man.
Oh my god. Oh, I still haven't gotten around to making the paper championship belts. But all right, man. We are going to be doing more Bring It to the Table next season. Also next season, you're going to hear from Nightwing, the analyst. That's right, N.W.A. will be back, as always, with his good shit of the week. And, since we're talking about things that will be returning next season, you can't start the beginning of the war and not finish the war. So next season, we'll be bringing back the Monday Night Wars. And, hey, you know what? Let's go back to December 2nd, 1996.
Marty, you've got to come back with me.
Where?
Back to the future.
Wait a minute, Doc. What are you talking about? What happens to us in the future? What, do we become assholes or something?
Give me that hell yeah. You want a war? You're going to get me.
Mick Foley is going to win their world title.
Has been paid for by the New World Order. Come on, Vince. Step into the ring.
My God, the battle lines have been drawn! D-Generation X invades WCW tonight! Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. Have a nice day! We got 2 words for ya!
I like my women like I like my basketball. One-on-one with as little as dribbling as possible. Yeah, I'm not. I was trying to remember quotes from this week, and that one kind of threw me off. All right, well, here we go. It is our final Monday Night Wars of Season 3. Now, I'm going to let you know at the end of what the breakdown was for this week, what we plan to do, because I know that you come to us each and every week to listen about what happened 25 years ago on this week. But we're only going to take a small little break because, let's be honest, generally the winters in wrestling when it comes to December, not very eventful. So I think we're going to be okay to skip out December, and we're going to be back in January. But O.D.M, tell me, what happened on December 2nd, 1996 for both Monday Night Raw and Monday Nitro?
All right. Well, Raw is still kind of in the shitter, but you'll see as we go through it. Open up with the newly arrived Flash Funk versus the Goon. HBK is teased.
Flash Funk, you are so funky!
The Funkettes. Yeah, HBK's in the WWF studio. He's going to issue an apology of some sort, according to Vince. And then they say, and we have a tribute to Tiny Tim, who just passed away. And Lawler basically just starts cracking jokes about how he's glad that Tiny Tim is dead. It's kind of weird. It's kind of weird.
Fucking cringy. I do they're showing back the thing with Lawler and Tiny Tim from like 94, 95, some shit like that from Raw, where he goes, "You're not the Burger King, you're the Dairy Queen," or something like that. And Lawler throws a fit. And so Lawler, keeping in full Lawler fashion, yeah, straight heel. I mean, even when Kaufman died, he gave some heart. I mean, Jesus, you
Right.
not a little heart for Tiny Tim?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it was something else. Flash Funk wins with a moonsault leg drop. It was interesting. He definitely connected better than he did on Heroes of Wrestling. we get a
Captain Lou is the commissioner of that place. Not sure if
that's
you know
what
that.
I heard. Yeah,
it's gonna be a huge promotion to
Did
come.
you know?
Big rival with Tony Khan.
Did you know Yokozuna isn't actually Japanese?
Peacock. Did you know Jimmy Snuka killed a man? Facts.
They show some highlights of the show that they just had. They ran a few shows in London. Austin and Sid had a championship match, and that all schmozzed out. We'll get more into that later. Next, we get Fake Diesel versus Phineas. Again, why are we still doing this? They do a promo for the Royal Rumble. It's two guys sitting in an empty arena saying, oh, they want to get there early. Okay.
So I do want to say those guys that they show in the promo, they've been used in the... I remember them being used in 94, 95, 96, 97, around that time for a lot of the promos. I do want to step back to say, why are they still doing this? Look, it didn't get over in the first couple of weeks, and it's not like people are like, aha, I get it. So we shouldn't care about Kevin Nash and Scott Hall over there because this is the real Diesel and the real Razor Ramon. No one is giving a shit. How did you not see the writing on the wall? There's one writer in there. I mean, I guess it's kind of like nowadays, but for real, like, how do they keep producing this? You have 1 hour of television. How are you fucking this up?
Pretty much. But yet, here we are. We get a recap of that Tiny Tim segment you were talking about with Lawler from 93 breaks his ukulele. And Tiny Tim does the fake crying. So that was their tribute to Tiny Tim right there. Fake Razor comes to ringside, causes a distraction. Fake Diesel barely got Phineas up for the powerbomb. I thought he was going to drop him on his heat. It was scary. But yeah.
Boy, heat!
The pants, no. So we finally get the interview with HBK, and it's basic.
We've got a party for down. Sorry, it's one of my favorite lines. I love that we use that.
HBK is basically referencing the interview when he was with Lothario last week. Vince McMahon was calling him defensive, and HBK apologizes for not being defensive enough. And he starting to lean into that DX character where we're headed because he says he's not politically correct. And he mentions how he's going to be fighting in the Royal Rumble against Sid for the title, which is going to be in his hometown of San Antonio.
Did you notice his hair was pretty, like, flowingly just beautiful in that?
It was rather beautiful,
it's
yes.
Kind of like he was using, just let your soul go. Yep.
Now that's a throwback.
I had to punch myself in the nuts for that one. Nut. But yeah, all right, let's move on.
You're going to have to end the episode on that. just to stick with it, man. Yeah, so that's that. Next we get Double J, which is still throwing me off to hear that. It's Jesse James, obviously, versus Justin Hawk Bradshaw. Sing it. It's the last episode of the season. Sing it.
Oh, Justin Hawk Bradshaw's a I'm spending my days working hard on the go, but the season 3 is on the go. I can't wait to be alone with my baby tonight.
There you go.
Turn the lights off, close the door. O.D.M will be worried all night.
You good?
Hold me in your arms, never let me go. Baby, it's true, I got a one-track mind, 'cause Nitro's coming up, we'll talk about Double J again, and I'll get to sing the song again.
Wow. All right, you took it. I'll give you credit, man. You took it. You ran with it.
Hey, guess what?
What's that?
A, don't give me the layup to sing one of the greatest country songs of all time by the greatest country singers of all time. A.
2.
And B. And 2. And D. God, we're on it. Nice. We're getting the little things in here like that.
So, you know, my favorite part of this match was they did an ad for the Beavis and Butthead Do America movie.
I thought that was fantastic.
It was fantastic. That's a movie we should have done.
Oh, my God. There's some boys whacking in my camper.
Damn it, Bobby. One of my other favorite parts of this match was Vince calling Zebekiah a WWS version of Yosemite Sam. You got to give him credit. He had some good one-liners, you know?
Yeah. I can't wait for Vince to be off.
Commentary,
the commentary soon.
Absolutely.
That's one of the things I'm looking forward to when it gets to 97 for all of us.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Bradshaw wins. Hooray. We have our Karate Fighters Holiday Tournament. It's supposed to be Sid and Perfect, but Sid won the title and he does what he wants, and Perfect won't show up because he lost to Triple H. So now it's Lawler versus Pettengill, and Lawler wins. And it's going to be Sable versus Lawler in the finals. Check back next week to see who wins the tournament. Next week at...
do you guys want to check back for real? Look for our episode. We're going to cover just that. We care that much about the Karate Fighters tournament.
I've put it in every episode. You know, we got to talk about it. Next, we basically get a recap of the shows they were running in London. Austin faced Sid for the title. Bulldog came in post-match, and then the next night it was Sid versus Bulldog, and Bret made the save, jumped by Austin, and chokes. Bret was jumped by Austin, then chokeslammed by Sid, and we get a promo for everybody. Owen and Bulldog, Bulldog's starting to cut a promo on Austin, and Owen's telling him, "Hey, forget about Austin, man. We're going to defend the tag titles. Focus on that." And then, at the end, he's like, "I'll see you later, Austin." And Owen again goes, "No, man, forget about him." So, see where that goes. And then our main event, Jake Roberts and Mark Marrow versus Billy Gunn and Triple H. King still with the alcoholic jokes. And we get a peek into next week. We're going to have a no-holds-barred match, Taker and Mankind. And then we get a backstage promo from Jesse James. He wants a handicap match with Bradshaw and Zebediah. So there's that. We get a little tease for In Your House. It's going to be Triple H versus Mark Marrow for the IC title. And we're going to get Owen and Bulldog versus the Fake Outsiders for the tag titles. Basically Triple H and Billy squabble. Billy just powders, and Marrow hits the shooting star press for the win. And that's how Raw goes off the air. Not a whole lot going on that show.
Doing a little tease with Mark Marrow having his hair in a ponytail. They're like, what do you think if he had some short hair?
Yeah, right.
I'm not kidding. I think it's funny because he has the exact same haircut in 1 to maybe 2 full years from now, the exact same haircut. It just not the ponytail that was there. And as I was seeing it, I was like, wow, he looks just like he does down the road here when Sable starts giving the old V to Lesnar's D.
That's yikes. Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm only talking about historical facts. So we're not going to talk about the time that Edge, Lita, and Matt Hardy had an issue?
I really don't want to talk about that. No, I don't.
We should just have a soap opera segment, scandalous love affairs in WWE.
Right.
Episode 1 be CM Punk, every woman ever.
Oh, boy. Yeah, we'll leave that one on the cutting room floor. All right. You ready for Nitro?
Okay.
Ready for Nitro?
Nitro.
Opens up with the Steiner brothers interrupting Shivani and Zbyszko's intro. Scott calling out Sting for attacking his brother. Rick, loud noises. We get a recap of that.
It really is. He's not good. He's trying to yell out for Sting, and it's like a shit show.
Yeah.
Sting!
And then Shivani and...
Did we do Police Academy at all?
Don't need to.
Well, that's who he is. It's Zed. That's who he is. He's Bobcat Goldthwait. That's what Rick Steiner is. From now on, it's the Steiner brothers are Big Papa Pump, Scott Steiner, and Bobcat Goldthwait.
All right. We get Glacier versus Hard Body Harris to open up the show. Jesus, man, you can't, how did they, it must have been easy to sell tickets with the opening up like that. Guess who won?
Yo, Hard Body Harris. I was like, who are they ribbing right now? And I'm trying to look at his face, and I was like, he really is a nobody. This is horrible.
Yeah, well, we get there later, too. There's more of that to come. Renegade and Joe Gomez versus the Amazing French Canadians, and the Canadians win clean. So there's that. Next, we get Mean Gene with Arn Anderson. He's asking Arn about Piper, and the first thing Arn says is that he beat Hogan 2 weeks in a row. Actually, Gene points that out to they both kind of make that point, so that was interesting. And then Arn talks about how Flair told him the toughest fight he ever had was against Piper, which I thought was pretty cool. It's a little thing, but it works. It goes a long way. The crowd was extremely obnoxious, though. It was hard to focus on the promo because the crowd was just chanting N.W.A really loud. It was kind of annoying, but
a lot of N.W.A shirts, signs. Now look I've been at several shows, and when you're down front, sometimes, an example. All right, 1994, I went to, it was in Rochester, New York, at the War Memorial, and they did a show that was all, not that night live televised, but they taped for Wrestling Challenge Superstars for like a month or two. And they did this for it was like 60 matches that night. And in between certain segments, they were like, here's a Doink the Clown mask. Got one of those. They were like handing things out or letting you guys know, hey, can you guys count to 3? Because 1, 2, 3 Kid is coming out. Let's see if you could put your hands up 1, 2, 3. They kind of throw out merchandise. Right. I'm not sure if WCW was doing that here. If they were throwing out the merchandise or people were really buying the NWO merchandise at that time. That's what I'm wondering, because it was like the entire front row was nothing but NWO
Pretty
shirts.
Much.
But at the same point, maybe they weren't just pumping them out. Because, let's be honest, come 97, 98, when like Austin shirts, they aren't handing shit out. They don't need to. But I'm not sure if NWO is the same thing right now. But like I said, the entire first row, complete NWO gear. I thought it was kind of just wanted to bring that up.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. Certainly a possibility. Yeah. So, all right. So next we get Faces of Fear versus Scottie Riggs and Robert Gibson. That was an odd pairing. I don't know why. I don't know if Ricky Morton was hurt or whatnot. But let's see. Yeah, Faces of Fear win. And Riggs, after they lose the match, Riggs comes in with a chair and gives Mang Barbarian Hogan-style chair shots to the head. Like,
you know who they gave that to? Riggs! That may be the first time I've ever said
Is
Riggs.
it? You think so? Wow, okay.
I've never done that one. That's yours usually.
Yeah. Well, there you go. It's all yours. Take it. Free. So I didn't do the math or look at the calendar from 96 to see when this was, but Benoit and Kevin Sullivan had a match on November 23rd. So sometime in between last Nitro and this Nitro. It's probably just a house show somewhere. And they did have it on.
They made it look, the way it looked like a house show.
Yeah.
Because it had very little lighting. And I was like, I myself go, wait, what did I miss? When was this match? Hang on. And I was like, we don't have Thunder. There's no way they put this on Saturday night. What's going on? I think it was a house show.
And it was basically kind of a repeat of their last brawl. They ended up in the bathroom again, but this time Dungeon of Doom was waiting for him, and they beat up Benoit, brought him back to the ring, beat on him some more, and a woman comes out, stands over her, and she actually goes after Sullivan, and Mang and Barbarian hold her back. And it's funny because they're just shouting and Samoan at her. You can't understand what the fuck they're saying, but it's fucking hilarious. So it was pretty crazy. Yeah, they were beating the shit out of each other, that's for sure. Next we get Taskmaster versus Jobber. I wrote Jobber because even at one point they go, what's this kid's name? They're like, and Shivani goes, I don't even know. At one point, Sullivan just
dynamite drop in, Monty. Those broadcasting,
that's the thing.
That broadcasting school is really paying off. Oh my God, that's hysterical,
dude! And Sullivan beat the shit out of this kid. At one point, he took a full water bottle with the cap on and just chucked it at his head. It was fucked up. And then after the match, he was in the ring with Sullivan or with Mean Gene, and in his promo, he said something about the equation adds to 3. I basically think he was just talking about Benoit being in the picture now. It was a weird promo. It didn't go anywhere. Next, we get a cruiserweight title match. It's Billy Kidman versus Dean Malenko. Malenko's going to face Ultimate Dragon at Starrcade if he retains, which he ultimately does. So there's that. Next, we get Big Bubba versus the real Double J or the other Double J. I don't know, but it's just
spending my days working hard on the go. What's a widget?
What's a widget? It's a fictional product. It doesn't matter. Tell that to the.
Hey, you picked that up really
Tell
quick.
that to the
was
bank.
Phenomenal.
It's a great movie.
Yo, I gotta throw this in here. This has absolutely nothing to do with
I'm
Monday
sure
Night
it
Wars,
doesn't.
But while my travels have brought me from, New York all the way down to Florida, I stopped at a truck stop one day and had to take a number 2. Yeah,
I'm sorry to hear that.
Deep thoughts here from Fantasia.
Sorry to hear that.
On the wall had the exact date saying, if you're here for a good time and want to pop this dude's cherry, call this number. And it was the exact date in November that I was there, 1,000,000,000%. And it had a time, but I was apparently 15 minutes late. Yo, it was extremely close to like Dumb and Dumber. I'm like, find a happy place. Find a happy place. I swear, dude, I was looking. I was like, I got to get out of this motherfucker quick. I don't know what's about to happen. So, yeah, I didn't get to tell you that story recently. I thought I would save it for the show. And, hey, it worked out with Dumb and Dumber. All right. On with Monday Night Wars. We'll never speak of this again.
You just completely derailed this.
What? You can't pick up with the next match after that story? I mean, one really follows the other.
All right. Well, the Steiners are in the ring now. They're calling out Sting. They eventually spot him in the rafters. Rick says, come on down, face me tonight, one-on-one, and Sting just nods yes.
I'm sorry. Rick? I'm sorry. Who was it? What was his name?
Rick Steiner. Rex Steiner.
We've already renamed it. Didn't we just rename him a minute ago? All right, never mind. You're already off.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
All right. Next we get the N.W.A come out. It's Bischoff, Vincent, Hall, Nash, and Six. They head to the announce booth and all the announcers powder. Bischoff saying, I'm back, because he hasn't been on commentary for a bit. So they couldn't miss Sting being there. They're basically acting like he's with them in the N.W.O. Bischoff calls out Big Van Vader. And they show...
calls him... What does he call him? Fat Tubbs or some shit like that?
I think... I thought he said just Big Van Vader is what he said.
No, he said he called
Big
him something
Fat
about...
Vader or something.
He said something about his weight.
Yeah, he might have, yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, they just show Hogan beating the shit out of him. They do a recap of Thug Life. They do a recap of Macho getting beaten down.
I saw that.
Yeah, I was like, why do you keep showing this? Poor fucking Nash. He's got to wake up sweating in the middle of the night. Like, what the fuck is wrong with me? Yeah, so we get Bischoff, Hall, and Nash on commentary. Scott Hall is like breathing super heavy into the microphone. It was really just weird because he just be... It was just weird. You catch it every once in a while. So now when they're going to commercial breaks, they're actually playing the N.W.O. theme song, which was kind of cool. They're starting to take over a little bit. Then we get Squire Dave Taylor versus Eddie Guerrero, and Eddie wins with a quick frog splash. Nothing really big happening there. Same with the next match, which is Arn Anderson versus Jim Powers, and Arn just hits a DDT for a quick win. Next we get a very odd part. I have no idea what the hell happened here. It's Chris Benoit versus Lord Steven Regal. This is a U.S. title tournament match. Regal gets busted open at one point, and NWO is basically putting everybody over. They're like, Benoit, oh yeah, we could use a Canadian guy in the NWO. They're just putting over him. Regal, yeah, we could use a British dude. But
they did that with when Dave Taylor was in that one
yes,
match.
They did.
He
yeah,
was like, you know what, we need a British guy in our division. I was like, wow, and he goes, we could do it. Best of, we got the payroll,
right? Yeah, but that was kind of cool. Like, as much as they're wrecking shop and talking shit on everybody, they're still putting some people over. That was kind of cool. At one point,
I got worried with Eddie because I was like, is this the vanilla midget part? You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, I thought that's when they were going to bring that in.
Yeah, no. We've been spared that for a while. At some point, the hard cam zooms out, and it stays like that for the rest of the match. And even Scott Hall goes, what happened to our Zoom?
Did the production crew be like, all right, we're going to take a powder. They can see everything going on in the place. We're fine. Let's go smoke.
I don't know. It was weird. And then Hall at the end of the match calls out the camera. He's like, I'm going to go see him real quick. Benoit takes the win. So there's that. So right after the match, Mean Gene's already on the ramp with Arn, Deborah, and Mongo. Benoit joins. Arn does a very brief promo on Luger and asks Benoit where Woman is. Benoit says she's taking care of Horseman business, and Arn says, well, if she would be here if she was taking care of Horseman business. Then Mongo gives Benoit advice. That's rich.
Oh my God, I hated this promo. Please. Can we skip it?
Well,
can we pretend like it didn't happen? God damn it, it happened. We have to talk about it, but fucking Deborah, God damn it, please don't talk about it, please.
I just wrote Deborah starts talking shit about Woman and how she's always talking about how great and cute Benoit is and her perfume, and then she went on some rant about how she was like drama queen, prom queen, horror queen, and the next note that I wrote was "Shut up, Deborah." I literally fast forwarded through this.
She seriously named every accolade you could get. I'm not saying I know what you would get or not get for like a women's thing, but she was like, I got Little Miss USA. I got this. She's like, then I got Prom Queen. Then I got Miss University of blah, blah, blah. Then I got Miss USA. Like she was going like in order, but through all this shit. And I go, holy shit. We just gave her 48 seconds of bullshit.
Yeah, I didn't.
Oh, my God.
I never got to the end of it because I literally just skipped over it. So, yep, there was that.
Oh, it was horrible.
It was horrible. Not as horrible as the next match. Actually, it was worse than the next match. We had Rocco Rock versus Lex Luger. Guess who won? But
Rocco Rock?
the best part. It
was a great match.
The line of the night, Kevin Nash says about Lex Luger, to look that good should be criminal. I guess so. Main event, we get Rick Steiner with Scott. He's facing Sting. Sting comes through the crowd, no music. N.W.O's putting Sting over like he is part of the N.W.O. Beginning of the match, Sting just turns his back, puts his arm out. Rick jumps him. Sting hits a quick death drop, and he gets the bat. Scott's in the ring tending to Rick. Sting uses the bash to put Scott out of the way. And he does the same thing he did with Luger. He did that very odd, sensual thing with the bat, and then just pushed Rick into the corner with it. Gives the bat to Rick, turns his back, puts his arms out again. Rick looks like he's going to hit him with the bat, but Scott stops him, and then Sting just powders. He has the bat, and he's walking towards the commentary booth, and he stops. And Hall and Nash and Bischoff are like, yeah, you're our boy. Come on, man. Come on over here. Sting just points the bat at him. What I loved was the way that Hall, Nash, and Bischoff sold it. They sold it like, he's not with us. Fuck. Okay. And then Sting just went into the crowd and disappeared. And then that's how the show went off the air. I think that
Hall goes, but he is wearing our colors,
yes.
so he's like there.
Yes, yeah. But it was great because the tone and just their reaction changed when he pointed the bat at him. I just thought it was a good way. The ending, ultimately from a production standpoint and how they left us wasn't great, but that was a good moment. So, and that was Nitro.
So you have to think that from right here, I mean, the way they keep bringing things together and they're slowly building towards stuff, you would have to think that, since Sting keeps taking this bat and he's slowly bringing it, to someone's chest, and eventually, it's probably going to get pretty weird, right? No? Is that weird? No? Too far?
No,
Too
you're
much?
good. No, it is weird. Yeah, I mean, it's you could still.
Oh well, hey, if that's the case, hey, O.D.M, quit playing with your dinghy.
Boo.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's now time for
Best there is, the best there was, and the best that there ever will be. Hold 2, arm bar.
Sodas rule. Yeah, they do.
Hold 3, the moss-covered, 3-handle family gradunzel.
It's me, Austin.
Just when they think they got the answers, I
change the questions.
I did it for The Rock.
This week's top topic.
You know something, Mean Gene? John Cena. Wrestling's not fake. The Rolex wearing one. Diamond ring wearing one. Kid stealing. Woo. Wheeling dealing. One. Limousine riding. One. Jet flying. One. Son of a gun. Woo.
Sierra Hotel. India. Echo. Lima. Delta. Shield.
If you smell.
The following ranking order and final decisions are a completely bias-based order, based off The Professor and O.D.M. made it. And as always, they like to let you know they have not worked in the business, but have been lifelong invested fans much like you, our listeners. With not only their opinions involved, but with countless amount of hours of research done each week, they make sure to provide proper facts and history to back it up. However, they do know that your opinion may vary from theirs. If there is anything you want to chat about, bring to their attention. If there is something they missed or forgot, or you just want to let them know they are out of their freaking minds, feel free to shoot them a message on Facebook or Twitter, or email them at thetopofwrestling@gmail.com. As always, they do appreciate all feedback and continued support. At the end of the day, they want to make sure that you do see the best of the best before you die. And now, this week's top topic.
Hey, sometimes you try to volley and set your own spike down, and you can't really nail it every time. I can't help you there. I thought I had a good shot right there with the Tommy Boy reference, but whatever. Thanks for the boo, O.D.M. But hey, you know what? You know who can't be booed? Hey, What Culture Wrestling? How about you get off our D? O.D.M., do you remember the time that we did an episode about AEW so far?
Yep.
And then on the day we released our show, or that we planned to record ours.
Yeah.
Yep, that's what it was, the day we planned to record ours. What Culture does their version, and I don't think it was Simon Miller, but it was one of the lads over there, and they made their own version. Why? I'll tell you why. Because they are probably listening to our show. Maybe that was what we thought at that point. But just as I said, hey, man, we should close out Season 3 of the Top of Wrestling podcast with AEW. I mean, it's 3 years in the books. It was in January of 3 years ago that they officially said, hey, we are going to start a revolution. And just as we are about to record the show one day before, What Culture? You decide to put out the history of AEW in your own version. Why? I'll tell you why. Because O.D.M. and the Professor are just that goddamn good. That being said, O.D.M., why don't you tell us a little bit about what is in store for today?
Yeah, so what we did was it was top 10 matches in AEW so far. And, it was what it was. It was still a young promotion at the time. There wasn't much of a history. And I thought we put together a really good list. We actually compared our list to their list. Their list was just criminal. It just made absolutely
Why?
no sense.
Because they don't know. Sorry, I'm done. I'm really hurting myself doing this. I have like welts on my arms right now from this.
Jesus Christ. So what we're doing is we're doing the top 25 AEW moments. So these aren't all matches. And if you compare this list to our previous list, you'll see that some of the matches that I had ranked previously have kind of flip-flopped a little bit. So, it's just because
the last one was a top 10, I believe. If I'm not mistaken, it was a short list, but it was matches only at that point.
Correct.
These are moments, and sometimes the moments are what make wrestling, right? The promos, the debuts, the things that get us excited about wrestling. It's not always just the matches themselves. Sometimes it's the build-up. So I'm excited about this list because this is the first time I've actually seen the list all together. Take it away.
All right. So, honorable mentions. I've actually have 5 of them listed. I'm just going to read them. Feel free to speak to any of them. I think we all know what they're about.
Did you have a little bit of Professor syndrome?
Yeah, a little bit.
All
right.
Here's the top 25 plus 5 honorable mentions.
Like I said,
that's like everything I do.
I'm not going to even talk about these. Like I said, I'm going to throw them out there. You feel free to talk to them. But I'm just going to read them off real quick.
Wait, can we talk about, hang on, Just now seeing, just glancing at the very first one that you have on top, can you make that one flip? Make that one the very last, because I want to talk about that one.
The last one that's on that list? The one that's on row number 7?
The very first one that's on the list, make it be the last.
Okay, all right. So we'll start at the bottom. All right, so we got Jon Moxley versus Jericho for the AEW Championship. That was at Revolution. That was February of 2020. We have Hangman winning the title, which obviously just recently happened. What I wrote for this one was Malachi Black knocking Cody off the throne. Basically, Malachi Black came in. He's a monster. Great entrance, great persona. Very over with the crowd, so much so that Cody, who's supposed to be the throne breaker, is getting booed out of arenas and having his weight belt thrown back at him from the crowd now.
We didn't talk about that yet. Oh my God.
So
that is something you don't see all the time.
No, it's a Chicago thing.
Getting a souvenir from a wrestler and being like, nope, take it back, Cody.
Yep.
Oh my God.
Absolutely.
Did you happen to see about the second time that he threw it out, what happened with the belt?
No.
There's a video out there, if you find it, of two guys they got the belt and they're grabbing it at the same time. And they end up having to do a 2 out of 3 falls paper, rock, scissors contest. And it was very legit. It was very cool. They were cool about it. It was awesome. But the first person, crowd says, throw it back. And they threw it back right. Dude, it almost hit Aubrey Edwards in the
that was
head.
the not cool part about it. Yeah.
But hey, don't throw a goddamn leather strap in the crowd if you don't want it being thrown back at you.
Yeah, fair enough.
Cody.
Yeah, Cody. 2 more. I got
Cody.
Best Friends versus Proud and Powerful in the parking lot match. And then the last one, which you wanted me to read last, which was Brody Lee squashing Cody.
It was the first squash in AEW. I wanted to bring attention to that. I think that is amazing. There was not, whether it was squash like someone against Allen Angels, fine. But 2 big top guys, and it came in 4 to 6 minutes that
it was pretty quick.
Brody Lee demolished Cody. I'm so glad that it's at least a part of your list. I thought it would be higher, but we'll see what else you got going on.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's see. We'll start with number 25, naturally. This is a match that it exceeded all of our expectations. It was Orange Cassidy versus Pac that was on Revolution, February of 2020. Again, nobody thought that this was a match we wanted to see. And it showed that Cassidy could actually go, his comedy bullshit aside. It was good, it was fun, and it sets up Death Triangle, which ultimately has been kind of a letdown. Part of that, is just because Pac couldn't be in the country with the pandemic, but ultimately it was a really solid match that over-delivered.
It's funny because I see it on the same night as when Moxley wins the title. Yep. And it's I was okay. All right, the notes that we didn't necessarily reference, but when Moxley wins the title, it's all about the eye situation that they had going on, and he couldn't see, and all of a sudden he reveals he could see all along. All right, that was cool. I mean, if you didn't have the announcers, I just recently rewatched it. If you did not have the announcers say out loud, "Oh my God, he fooled us all along," the crowd had to be like, "Okay, so you can see now? That's fine." Well, I mean, you've been away for it's fine. It was a weird thing. So I'm absolutely 100% on the same page as you, and I don't want to be because I don't like necessarily Orange Cassidy, but him versus Pac was the perfect. Pac is the only guy that could have sold that match the way he did. All the shenanigans, the rolling around, it was perfect. I loved it. Yeah, that was a great moment.
Yeah, again, it had no right being as good as it was. So yeah, that's a win-win right there. Number 24 was the pandemic episode. It opens up with the Elite. It was Cody, Omega, and the Bucks, basically kind of just addressing what was happening. And it was a little overproduced. It was a little cheeky, or cheesy. But you know what? It was a monumental night. But that's because Brody Lee and Matt Hardy both debuted that night, aka the show that was supposed to be in Rochester. I just think that was a monumental thing. They were able to still engage everybody and put on really good shows during that time. And they just let people know they were there for the fans. So I just thought that was a big moment for them. They took something that was really devastating and that other companies obviously had a very hard time with. And I just feel like they knocked it out of the park. They did their best and it worked.
I'm glad you said the other company. I only want to say that through the pandemic, when you look at how everything went down, Ring of Honor, some of the guys have admitted that the pandemic kind of killed them. The momentum, the not having fans. You have to have. You can only produce so much great television without fans, and especially for guys who are used to it. Brian Danielson said that he liked that it was a new change in WWE. It is something different for guys, but you also have to be consistent. You have to still be able to produce compelling TV and moments. I think AEW delivered more than any other wrestling company during the entire pandemic. Personally, that's just my own opinion, not just because I'm an AEW mark. I'm just thinking that when you look at everything overall, and I'm going to follow up with some stuff after your list here, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about.
Absolutely. All right, number 23. And keep in mind, some of these are just kind of concepts. They're not just, one thing. And specifically, what I'm referencing is number 23, which is Miro's Ascension. I was always a huge Rusev fan. He had a short run with the U.S. title, and he was just blowing through people, and he just looked like a monster. And that's really when I actually first got to see him. And I just always loved, what he brought to the table. And then, naturally got over with the whole Rusev Day thing, and then he was gone. And I remember the morning I woke up and I saw he signed with AEW. I was jumping up and down. I was so happy. And then they blew it. They just absolutely blew it. And then
the Best Friends arcade bullshit.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I hated it.
And then Kip Sabian gets injured. Miro turns on him, and now he's just a world beater. He should be in the world title conversation. And just to see this.
Can I be honest? Just hearing your talk and what we're seeing here. Look at Miro can be a heel. That's cool. But he can also be a face that, is an ass kicker that you want to cheer. Why I say that is, depending on what happens with Danielson and Page, I think Miro can be a great next contender for either one of them. Mm. You're saying that, him at the top of the card. I think he's ready, but did you notice he was taped up in the match against Danielson?
Yes.
I really think that they called a major audible and were like, yo, we got to bring someone in. Miro, can you just do Full Gear and a night against Orange Cassidy? Orange will let you beat the living piss out of him. You don't even have to do anything. You don't have to take one fucking bump. But for one night, can you pull a night? Because he hasn't been on TV even since then.
Yeah.
It's the whole, they're playing off this God situation, like the Redeemer.
Yep.
I'm just thinking that I think they pulled him in because they needed someone that at least Brian could go against that was a heel, but a credible finals opponent.
Sure. Makes sense.
I think Miro was probably the best option he could have went with. But no, again, he hasn't been back on TV. I think he's nursing some injuries, but I hope that doesn't last too long because you're right. He is primed right now he could take the world title. If he had the title for an entire year, I'd be I'd be absolutely happy with that. Him versus Darby versus Guevara, him versus Jericho, anybody that's a face. That's what we need, is a heel holding it. You had Omega taking on certain types of wrestlers. Miro takes it to a completely different route.
Yeah, because he can take on anybody.
Yeah.
All right. Number 22, you might roll your eyes a little bit, but, it's a moment, and I'm a mark, so it's on the list. And it leads to some things later on down the line, and that's the Bullet Club reuniting. It's not, Prince Devitt, but Omega, the Bucks, the Good Brothers, it's the Bullet Club. So, just a cool moment, and...
I marked out equally as much as you. I said... Yeah. Please just bring me G.O.D. and I'm in here.
I know, right?
This is awesome. I'm like, you already have everybody over here. I'm okay if Prince doesn't make it over there, AJ, for a little bit. You got a good chunk of the guys right now in AEW. I just don't know where the Good Brothers have contracts. If it's Impact.
It's Impact.
Okay,
yeah.
All right. Because they're still the tag team champions over there.
Yep.
But still keep showing up as Omega's butt boys every week.
Yeah.
Wearing weird tattoos, earrings, and clothing. I get you want to get heat and piss people off, but also, have a little bit of, self-respect, too.
Yeah, I don't think there's a lot of that.
Hey, me saying this about Doc Gallows and when he was Festus. Ding. Never mind. We're good.
Yeah,
Please move on before I say something else that gets us kicked off Spotify.
Let's move on. 21. It's and I don't have the date for this, but it's Brody Lee versus John Moxley for the world title. This is the one where Brody goes through the ramp and he just pops up all of a sudden and he's bleeding. All beat to shit.
Double or Nothing 2020.
Okay, that's what it was then. Okay, yeah.
Because they had awesome card cutouts, like playing cards, deck cards, cutouts of those guys, and I believe one of them went through that actual card too.
Yep, I think you're
because
right.
I was mad that that Stadium Stampede closed the show and not Moxley and Brody Lee. But it made sense for everything that it was. But but it was at Double or Nothing 2020.
Yeah, but just a solid match. It was Brody and two ex-WWE guys that had been working together for a long time, and they were able to do their match. I know a lot of people don't like Moxley's matches. I'm not even a big fan of Moxley's matches, but just that ending image of Brody going through the ramp and just the aftermath of that, I just thought it was cool. Just a solid match, man.
Okay, so since we're going to take this turn, here's the deal, man. This is the last time we may talk about AEW in this full of an extent for quite some time. You know what I mean? Not quite some time. We talk about it all the time, but I mean, analyzing things. Saying that you're not really a fan of Moxley's wrestling style. Everybody's got a very specific move set that they do.
Right.
Moxley is who he is. I'm okay with the character that Moxley is. I'm okay with the moveset that he provides. It's no different than the 5 moves of doom with John Cena, or the certain types of flips and dips that you get from John Morrison. Everybody has their own thing.
Sure.
I personally am a fan of John Moxley's wrestling moveset because it is almost to the Stone Cold Steve Austin moveset. It's a fighter moveset as opposed to a wrestling moveset. You'll do some flips or some suplexes and shit like that, but you're not diving off ropes because you're not a high flyer. You're a fighter. That's all I want to say on Moxley. Just wanted to throw that out there.
It makes sense. Yeah, and in this one, it definitely worked. That was the match. It was a brawl.
Yeah.
All right. So we've got a recent entry here, number 20. It's Darby Allin and MJF at Full Gear 2021. Oh, You got two of your...
I don't even say much. I mean, we just talked about it just a couple of weeks ago.
Yep.
Fantastic. I think if anything that AEW has provided that is a 5-star type match as of recent, if anything deserved it, it would have been that. I wouldn't look at the Omega page or any of the Young Bucks and Adam Cole and all that shit.
No.
I think this right here was storytelling because it's now who is, if we're talking about the 4 pillars and who's, stacked where, we know where Jungle Boy is, we know where Sammy is. Between us two, where is it at? And this was a very meaningful match, and I think it was an extreme awesome top moment, so I'm glad you added this one.
Oh, absolutely. Go on there. I kind of moved it around a little bit, but again, it like you said, it's storytelling. It's 2 of your 4 pillars. It's 2 of your young guys that are probably going to meet again down the road sometime. You're sowing the seeds. They had a good build up and a good payoff. So, absolutely belongs on the list. As does the next one, number 19. This is Kenny Omega versus Pac at All Out 2019. This was a weird one. Pac filled in for John Moxley. He had the elbow infection. Pac was supposed to face Hangman, and then they got into some drama about creative differences. And this was actually Pac's AEW debut. If you remember when they did the initial AEW press conference in Jacksonville, Pac came out and had a stare down with Hangman Page. That's where that was supposed to go. But because of the creative differences, they had to scrap it. This was a dream match, but after the fact, we found out that both guys were unhappy with it. The match went too long, and they had to cut a lot of shit out. So it didn't really live up to what they wanted to, but it was still a fantastic match. These two just work really well together, and hopefully we get more of it down the line somewhere. Moving on to number 18. Jericho versus Hangman Page, AEW Championship All Out 2019, same show. This was the match to determine the first AEW champ. Jericho got busted open, was bleeding all over the place. Hangman had multiple escapes from the walls of Jericho, and there was a bunch of good false finishes. And we can complain about those sometimes, but it worked in this instance. And Jericho arguing with Ref Aubrey is always a classic, and it's really the first time that we really got to see that. So it was fresh, it was new, it was unexpected. And, again, as much as we like to talk shit about Jericho, it was a solid match, and putting the title on him to begin with was probably a smart move.
I got to be honest, I don't know if I'm making a spoiler alert, if it makes a list or not, but I do love Stadium Stampede when he argued with Aubrey Edwards and goes, "You're a shitty ref."
And they went to the booth. They did like the booth review or whatever. Yeah.
Oh, my God, that's right, they did. Oh, my God. Is that when the mascot got involved
I
as
think
well?
so, right before that or right after it, yeah.
You know what sucks? Is that Tony Khan's team beat us. What the fuck? All right.
Yeah, that was a pisser. Stephon Diggs did have AEW cleats on, though. That was kind of cool. All right, so moving on, number 17. And I didn't put the date for this one, too. Shit. This was a match on Dynamite, if I'm not mistaken. It was Thunder Rosa versus Britt Baker for the AEW Championship. This is the infamous one where Britt's face was just covered in blood. She had that sadistic smile on her face. This is just...
It was an unsanctioned lights-out match.
Was it a lights-out match?
Yo, it was a lights-out match.
Okay. But, yeah, these two just beat the shit out of each other. And it's
No,
yeah,
hang
no,
on.
I don't think it was.
I'm wrong. Not lights out. It was an unsanctioned match. You're right. You said that, and I for some reason thought it was lights out, but this one was not.
Gotcha.
You're the professor in this episode. I'm just a doctor.
Yeah, dude, this was just a fantastic match. These are your two top women stars right here. Really, they are. I mean, Serena Deeb you can put in there as well. But these two, they had a fantastic match. They've teased a little bit here and there. Hopefully, we'll get back to it at some point. But yeah, this was. I'd have to say this was the best women's match in AEW's history so far.
No doubt.
Number 16. It's another mark out moment, man. Sting returns. I remember I was sitting in bed watching it, and I didn't catch the video package. It threw me off, and then he came out, and I freaked the fuck out. I don't care that he's 60. Just seeing him there was cool as shit, and I marked out.
Winter is coming. We didn't even know that's what it meant, and now every time he comes out, it's snowing. We have winter is coming also this December with Dynamite. I wonder who shows up this time.
Glacier.
Stang. Oh my God, Stang. Oh my God, Stang and Glacier. Holy shit!
I'm telling you. I bet you he shows up. I told you he was already in an AEW match.
And the Disco Inferno.
He can go fuck himself
right,
and jump off a cliff for all I care.
All
right. So we're hitting number 15 now. Bucks versus FTR. Not happy with how the match ended, but it was a dream match. It was something we were looking for, and it was a pretty goddamn good match. Again, ending aside, it lived up to the hype. Unfortunately,
no argument there. It did live to the hype. I think it's a clash of two teams that can only go so far, but it was a dream match, though. That's the whole point, is putting them together and seeing how they clash. Doesn't mean they have to have a absolute 5-star classic. It's good to see how they just work together.
Absolutely. Yeah, like I said, man, it's tough because, what I feel like is the Bucks were like, yeah, we'll put on a hell of a match, but we're going to win, and then there's not going to be a rematch. And that's pretty much what happened. And now, FTR are clawing their way back to the top. So, hopefully something comes out of it. There's just too much talent there in FTR to just let them do what they're doing. So, all right. We're moving on here.
Fuck the Bucks.
Yeah, fuck the Bucks. Number 14. This is the lights out match that you were referring to. This would be Jon Moxley versus Kenny Omega. This one was the crazy one that they actually got fined for by the State Athletic Commission. So it must not have been that unsanctioned. This feud began at Double or Nothing. This is when Moxley debuted, but that match got delayed because of the elbow infection, obviously. Moxley cut a hell of a promo and the build up to this. Basically said he was stuck doing comedic segments while Omega was given the opportunity to put on 5-star matches with New Japan. Fucking great.
Is that the one where he goes, I'm going to break your fucking jaw?
Probably.
That was my favorite one. Oh, that was such a good... Yeah, I remember that. That was... compelling
shit. Well, also what was compelling was the shit that they used in the match. I have a little list here of all the stuff. Mouse traps, shattered glass, barbed wire, and the wood of the exposed ring. Yeah, man.
And since it is the time of year... A partridge in a pear tree.
Okay. I accept that. Number 13. Kenny the...
Or 8 crazy nights for you other listeners. Okay.
Okay. Number 13. Moving on. We're just going to leave that one right there. I'm going to bury that with my mama's titties and move on. Don't make me get the guitar out just to play that little riff. Number 13 is Kenny the Belt Collector, a.k.a. Ultimo, a.k.a. Ultimate Dragon. Yeah, man, just seeing him with all the straps, it was cool. Nakazawa was they need to get rid of that dude. But still, just to see that dominance, that they're really putting this guy over, that where other promotions said, yes, we will make you our world champion and you can wear those titles on your program. It means a lot. It really contributes to...
I agree.
It contributes to where we're at with wrestling. And I'm kind of transitioning into number 12 here, and then, you feel free to speak on both of them. But Kenny being the belt collector completely factors into number 12, which is Kenta kicking open the forbidden door. Kenta really was the first one to show up and be like, holy shit, he's here. Obviously the thing with Moxley didn't really go too far, but ultimately just to see him show up, hit the GTS and take that mask off, that was a huge moment, and we've seen where it's gone. Obviously, with Impact, that relationship has seemed to kind of gone away, They're not doing that cross promotion stuff anymore. But the potential is still there with other companies. So, you know,
I love the Omega going, oh, hey, Kenta, so good to see you. So good to see a friend. He goes, shut the fuck up. I'm not your friend.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, that was
great.
great.
That alone was worth it, because you're absolutely right. Because, you know, and again, the Bullet Club, right? So just those two things kind of interchange with each other. They're really important because it's where we want to be with wrestling. We want to be able to watch one promotion and still see stars from other promotions, right? So, yeah, that's a really important moment. That's why it's so high up on the list.
True. First forbidden door, because I mean, man, I don't want to go like spoiler, but like, you know, All Out, one that you and I didn't anticipate was Suzuki. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like when he randomly showed up, we're like, holy shit. Never did I think about him, but now I am. Oh my god! Like there's so many crossovers from Japan to AEW.
Rocky Romero.
They're making some really cool. Yeah, Romero. Yeah, exactly. A lot of great dream matches coming true, and I'm all for it.
Absolutely. Well, you know, we've got a lot of recent stuff that is, you know, towards the top here, and the same is true with number 11. And that was the match between CM Punk and Eddie Kingston at All Out 2021. It was just a fantastic fucking grueling match. The promos that Kingston cut, that Punk cut, you know, Punk doing the John Cena 5 moves of doom, Punk getting color, you know.
Oh, Crimson Mask, absolutely.
It was just, you know, as far as storyline, you know, there definitely was some history there. So there, you know, there was a precedent, there was something to build off of. But ultimately, it wasn't really a long feud. It was just more of a what the fuck? Okay, we're gonna fight. But man, it was a great match, and it just showed that Punk still has it. And it really shows how over Eddie Kingston is. Eddie Kingston is becoming a very big figure in this company. He's going to be a big star. He's been doing it for a long time. He's an older dude, you know, when it comes to being wrestlers. But the fans love him, dude. He's over as fuck, and he can cut a hell of a promo. So this was an important match to me because, again, CM Punk.
If he's not being interrupted, yeah.
Maybe me and Eddie Kingston should form a tag team.
Oh, the interrupted brothers. Holy shit. Oh my god. Yo, that may be my favorite part of this entire fucking season. It took 35 episodes to find out that your interruption tag team partner is Eddie Kingston.
Yeah, well, everybody's got to have something in common, right? Oh, Jesus. All right. We're going to the top 10 now. Number 10, we talked about it earlier. It was that MJF and Punk promo. I'm sorry, that's promo of the year. This is one of the most exciting things that's happened in wrestling in a while. It's the thing I most want to see. What happens next? I'm engaged. You said it. Take my money. This is it. This is everything that we wanted from AEW. Non-scripted, real, talent, engaging. Buzzwords.
To come in at number 10, I will say that absolutely. I'm there. And not only promo of the year, but that you're saying promo of the year wrestling-wise. But for AEW, probably their best promo.
Oh, yeah.
I would assume. I mean, I'm not sure what's to follow here for the next 9, but, I mean, it's hard to follow up Punk and MJF. I did not know if you were going to let this one come into the list this week, so I'm glad it did because it's hard to deny it. Only 6 days before we record.
I know, right? Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, I probably could have slid it up, but there's some other things, you know, and we'll get to them here, that I think I just, you know, just hold a little bit more weight, probably over time. You know, I'd even say the next couple you could probably even flip-flop a little bit, so let's get to them. Number 9, Sting's cinematic match. You know, with COVID and Undertaker's last match with AJ Styles, they did a really good job with that cinematic match. I think it's safe to say we both loved it. But how fitting is that the Undertaker leaves and his counterpart, his WCW counterpart, is just coming back into wrestling and does the same thing, a cinematic match, with the perfect partner in Darby Allin. And it was just a phenomenal match. I think we were both a little worried.
Was it? I knew it was Cage, but Ricky Starks
yeah.
too, right?
Yep.
Dude, my favorite thing is the throwing of the bat. Everything was perfectly well planned. I loved how they did it. As a tag team setup, awesome. I loved it.
Yeah, it again, I think it was another one that it exceeded expectations because, you worry, how are they going to pull this off? Is this going to be like overly cheesy? Is it going to be over the top? But no, it was phenomenal. It was really good. It was one of the best moments.
More than anything, do not. You have to change with the times. WWE did it with the Boneyard match and the Firefly. But this one here, whatever it was called, I'm not sure if it had a name.
Yeah, I don't think it did.
Keeping it with storyline and I don't know. I think this right here was absolutely awesome. And then you got WWE doing the zombies. That's all I can say. I guess there we go. That's how I describe it. There we go.
Yeah. So anyway, great to see Sting again. And it was just a perfect vehicle. Number 8, something that we got to experience together. It was Bryan Danielson and Adam Cole debuting at All Out. Was it All Out? No, it wasn't All Out. Whatever the fuck pay-per-view.
Oh, it was All Out,
was All
baby.
Out. Okay.
It was Danielson and Cole debuting. That's the night Suzuki did. Ruby Riott or Ruby Soho. Dude, I still have claw marks from you choking me the fuck out when Bryan Danielson showed up at the very end of the pay-per-view. It was so awesome. I mean, dude, if you're a wrestling fan, watch the last 10 minutes of All Out 2021 and it'll, that's all you need. That'll be the best thing to keep a flame going. Just go back to that.
Yeah, I mean, there's no mistaking that Adam Cole. Adam Cole was number 2 in the PWI top 100 wrestlers. He finished only second to Moxley, and you could easily make the argument that Adam Cole should have been number 1. And then he's not only is he showing up in AEW where he's going to put on fantastic matches. I saw one with Jungle Boy in Rochester. It was amazing. But he's back with the Bullet Club. He's back with his friends. And I know Cornette makes fun of that, but, and there's definitely some potential for things to go wrong. But ultimately, having him in that situation, it's good for business. It's good for the fans. It's good for the company. It's good for everybody. And then you have Danielson. And the thing with Danielson is this dude gets to do what the hell he wants now. He can face who he wants. And, not only just, first of all, Adam Cole, there's one. Kenny Omega, we saw what we got with that. Miro, I don't think any of us even thought about that one. But look at how that match turned out. The finish was wonky, but, and who knows what other talent is going to come over from New Japan or from other promotions, and who knows where he's going to go to face other people. And the fact that we got those back to back was just something else. And the Adam Cole thing was great too, because they played it off where it was, oh, well, we know these guys have a history, but is he cool with them? And he kind of did the weird face off and then super kicks Jungle Boy, and it was just fantastic the way they did it. And that's how you end a show. You think you're all done when you hit Adam Cole, and then you get Bryan Danielson. I mean, come on. That's how you end a show. So I think again, it just goes to show that AEW is the place that these guys want to be. So it's just.
To add to that, go back to both of these theories just coming to my mind are kind of. It's funny that both have the same guy, but go back to Royal Rumble '94. Oh my God, Undertaker was buried, alive. He's dead.
Right.
What's going on? And you got to tune in to watch, or when Undertaker returns at a Survivor Series to, scare Randy Orton. I think it was like 2005 or 6. Things like that. You know what I mean? Like, it keeps you going, oh my God, I got to watch the next thing. This right here. Or even when Undertaker showed up for Judgment Day as the American Badass, you're like, what? He's not dead. He can ride a bike? My point being, it makes you go, I have to watch the next episode. And the next episode of Dynamite had both Adam Cole and Danielson. So, yeah, this is, that's what we're talking about is, not only just making an impact, but capitalizing on it. And they do. Every debut that has come through, I don't think they've really fallen short. They pushed Brody. They push FTR pretty much in the right way. Ruby's being pushed. Danielson's being pushed. Cole, if he wants to hang around with the balding buck and
Pie
whatever, that's fine. Yeah, exactly. That's fine. But everybody's been pushed pretty much, I think, decently coming in from another company. Just my opinion.
Absolutely. All right. I don't even know where I left off here. All right, number 7.
Start number 25 again.
No. Number 7, this is the Splash on Meltzer's Face entry. It's the Young Bucks versus Kenny Omega and Hangman Page for the AEW tag titles. This was at Revolution 2020. Listen, no matter what you want to say about Meltzer and his star ratings, which we've already said we're going to disregard moving forward, this match was awesome. It was a fantastic match, and you even had the little tease at the end, which ultimately didn't really go anywhere. Kind of went the other way, but
well, it kind of even plays into today, where the Young Bucks kind of gave their approval to Page to go ahead and buckshot lariat Kenny Omega. You remember those hidden tracks where I was like, people are like, oh my God, Roman Reigns, piss in my mouth. That's Meltzer to the Young Bucks.
Pretty much. Not really much to say. It was a fantastic match. There's no doubt about it. It is one of the best matches in AEW history. So yeah, that's why it's at number 7. Number 6.
Mm-hmm.
Was that like a silent nod over? Are we in church or something? You ready to testify?
Oh, my brother! I don't even.
Yeah, just we'll blow by.
All right,
go. Number 6.
You blow by.
Number 6. John Moxley.
You will
John
blow
Moxley.
by it. That's
John
what I
Moxley
said.
arrives.
Touché.
Do I need a piece of cake here just to make it more fitting? Number 6. John Moxley arrives. Who doesn't remember that moment? Do I need to recap it?
The motherfucker is my favorite part. Just going to the rope, taking a deep breath, going, bringing the air in, and then saying motherfucker. It's like, hey man, enough said. You don't even need to do a 40-minute promo. That's everything you could have said right there.
Yeah, it was great. Jericho saying, "What are you doing here?" And he kind of just shrugs and hits him with the fucking dirty, well, not dirty deeds. What do they call it? The Death Driver now or something like that? Death Rider. Yeah,
I think
we'll
so.
go with that.
Yeah. Death Rider.
All right. Another recent one.
Death Dirtier. Or Death Deeter.
Are you just making up words now?
Maybe.
Maybe. Good answer. I keep my eye on you.
Nice! It's a good change.
Very nice. All right. We're going to hit our top 5 now. Number 5, another recent entry. This is Bryan Danielson versus Kenny Omega in the 30-minute draw. I mean, Again, one of the things that we salivate about are these dream matches when these people start coming over, whether it's cross-promotion or they're signing with AEW. There's so much potential. There's so many matches. Some, again, that we just didn't even think about. This one we definitely thought about. I'm sure we fantasy booked this one 20 times before it even happened. And it lived up to its expectation. And it's certainly something that, once Omega comes back, they could certainly keep running with. We'll see what happens, but again, I really don't have much else to say about it. It was a fantastic match.
It's funny because I didn't think that they were like Grand Slam at the Arthur Ashe Stadium. I'm like, whatever, man, it's a regular stadium. Why is this so big, man? But the echo, the eruption in that place, there was 3 components to that match. It was Omega, Danielson, and that crowd. I mean, it was just so amazing. It was. I'm surprised this one isn't closer to 1, 2, or 3. It was such an amazing match. But it was a great moment. Great moment.
Yeah, and I'll tell you why. This one's not at the top. Again, there's always stuff that you could shuffle around. But I'm going to stick to my guns on this one. Number 4, it's Kenny Omega versus Pac. This was their Dynamite match. That was an Iron Man match. It was great because, again, these two just work so much better together than most people. It blew away their match at All Out, and this was a TV match. Kenny gets the first fall because Pac gets disqualified for using a chair. Right after he gets disqualified, he hits a Black Arrow and evens it. And then it goes to overtime.
Wait.
Pac takes out the ref. Aubrey comes in as a replacement, and Kenny rallies and wins. It was just well done. Everything looked well.
Wait, you think this is better than All Out?
This is better than Omega's and Pac's match at All Out. Yes.
Are you sure?
I'm positive. Did you really do that just to set me up?
Yeah. Did you use the right torquage? Come on, man. I just wanted to see if you would catch it.
I guess the fucking thing's broken.
My man. Oh, man, I'm going to miss you for a month. All right, let's see what else happens going on here for AEW.
All right, we're moving on to the top 3. And again, I still, as much as I hate the motherfucker, Cody versus Dustin at number 3. It just worked. It just worked.
It's a tear.
Yeah, I mean, it was the tear-jerker curtain.
Well, the end is a tear-jerker, but
the
match itself was old school.
It was, and Dustin was just gushing blood.
Do you want me to try and do my impression
sure,
of that?
Go for it.
Let me see. I haven't tried that one. Let's see. But when it comes to the match against the Young Bucks, I don't need a partner. I need my older brother. Was that
not bad?
Was that
not
close?
Bad. I'll give it a 7.
Yeah. Well, give me another one. I'll try another impression before this.
No,
episode
I don't think
Go
we
ahead.
Need to do that. I think we're good. All right. So
that's fair. Cool.
Top 2. Top 2 are not even wrestling matches. At least one of them, not so much to speak of. Number 2, it's the Brody tribute show.
Oh, such a great show.
Not something that we ever thought we were going to get.
It's a dick thing.
Well, no, I know what
I
you
meant
mean.
On
yeah.
Such a great tribute show is how the matches they put together were. Was it not all done by Brody Lee Jr.? It was his entire card
I
put
think
together,
so,
or
pretty much. Yeah, and we got Eric Redbeard showing up. Eric Redbeard got all torn up. It was a heartbreaking thing, but it was cathartic. It was it was meaningful, and it went to show right because they could have just done a video package like WWF would have, or they could have just done the 10-bell salute. But they just went the distance. They just went all out with it, and I think they nailed it.
Well, I mean, it was the equivalent of when Owen Hart passed.
Sure.
It was in the midst of a run, and the entire show was a tribute. Same with Eddie. No one expected, Brody to pass, except the entire roster. But no one let it be known. You know what I mean? And it's such a surreal moment how Tony Khan and everyone in AEW did that, because you sent me the message, and it was what, like New Year's or the day before New Year's Eve or something like that, and I was like, get the fuck out of here. How?
Yeah, right?
And we had no idea. But kind of, and it's one of the things Bryan Danielson and CM Punk have both said, kudos to how they handled it, is because WWE would have made something of it. They would have been like, he's at home with they would have shown him in the hospital, things like that, and they let him, do his thing. Then, for all of us to find that out, it was supposed to be, they had like New Year's Eve 1 and New Year's Eve 2. However, it was supposed to be set for AEW, or it was like a best of show. Then all of a sudden they said, nope, we're going live. They did the Brody Lee tribute show. And that's the night where Junior hit MJF with a fucking Singaporean cane to the head. And, I mean, greatest pop, for anything. But just some really great moments of guys who were in there and thinking of him. And you could see the real emotions on everybody's face. So I forgot all about this one, so I'm glad that you actually put this one in there.
Absolutely, yeah. I felt it definitely deserved, because again, it speaks just to the culture that they have there and what they're putting out as far as a product, and what they have as far as an environment for not only just their talent, but for the fans too. So I think it just speaks volumes, and it's an important thing that's made them what they are at this point. All right. Our final entry, number 1. I mean, I don't think it's going to be much of a shocker. It's Riho becomes the first AEW Women's Champion. She...
Please tell me
I
you're
am
kidding.
absolutely kidding. You all know what it is. It's CM Punk debuts and returns after 7 years. There's nothing I've never, I've been watching wrestling since the mid 80s, maybe even the early 80s.
Yep.
But I've taken breaks. I've missed things when they've happened, even though I've gone back and rewatched them and learned about them and understand what happened. It's not the same as seeing it when it happens. I've never experienced something like this before. The anticipation, the silence from the announce team, basically just saying, and we're just going to start off with the big announcement or something like that. And just the chants, you hear the chants, the music kicks in, and it's just absolute madness. The look on Punk's face, the fact that he looks genuinely happy. He jumps into the crowd. He sits in the middle of the ring. He pulls an Andy Kaufman. Start to finish, it was just an amazing segment. Again, it was one of those things that went 10 minutes. It felt like 5 seconds. I've rewatched that a dozen times.
And you couldn't even hear his music part of the time. I don't remember the last time I've heard a crowd louder than the music. And yeah, no, you're right. Nothing can top that. That is definitely the best moment you really could have. It's probably the top moment of 2021, because finally CM Punk has returned to pro wrestling. One thing I think I may have not mentioned earlier with the Punk and MJF promo is that MJF says, "Oh, you've been facing a bunch of anybody under the sun. You're not looking for me. You're taking on the easiest of guys." I'm okay that he came back to just knock the rust off against a bunch of anyone. Doesn't have to. Not that Eddie Kingston is just a nobody, but you got your Garcias, but you still had Kingston. You had Matt Sydal, but you also had Darby Allin. He had a little bit of everything, and I think it was good to kind of knock the dust off the old wrestling boots. And now that you're in with MJF, when he's like, nah, now I'm not scared anymore. I think that's a real thing where he's like, now I'm ready. Let's bring on this real feud. I'm excited, man. And the truth is that I didn't mention this, but it says AEW 3 years in the books. That's the name of this episode. People are like, well, there's only been 2 years of Dynamite. Well, Double or Nothing started one full year all the way before that. And Revolution was before. The Revolution they talked about was in that January. So it has actually been a 3 full year process from start to finish of where we're at right now. What does year 4 bring? Hey, man, we got Danielson on the way to be a champion. You got Punk and MJF on the way. Now, I do want to talk with you in a couple of minutes about predictions, what you think, to close out our season, but also talking about, what your predictions are mainly for AEW. I put together a very, now look at, this is going to sound like you're going to be like, wow, that's a lot. But when I start flying through, you can and that's fair enough. Like a minute or two list here, but it is every main event for every Dynamite since day 1. Now it sounds like, well, why would you want to list every one of those? That sounds like a weird long list. 100-something matches, right? Why I'm doing this is I want you to pay attention to the process, the storylines. In O.D.M, I'll say this right now. If you go, stop right there. Wow, there it is. They brought a storyline, how things bridged from one to the other. Because you're going to find a lot of things how not only do you have a lot of storylines, a lot of character building, one thing that you really have is consistency in 1 time, maybe 2 time matches. How often have you seen Seth Rollins versus Kevin Owens? How many times have you seen Roman Reigns versus anybody in the goddamn roster? You already know what I'm talking about, right? We've talked about that billion-time booking, right?
They're doing it with Rollins and Balor now.
Exactly. So, as you listen to this list, you're going to go, wow, there is not much that is a repeat. And if there is, it'll be part 2, part 3. Like they did with Cody and Andrade or Pac and Omega. You'll see where I'm going. So, you feel free to stop me when you want to, O.D.M, but I'm just going to fly through this list. I think you'll find this very interesting. I'm not going to list every date, but I am going to say October 2nd, 2019, it was your pilot episode. You have Jericho with Santana and Ortiz versus Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. That's where Omega shows up. Or Moxley shows up.
Puts his head through the table, yep.
Following week, Jericho and Guevara versus Adam Page and Dustin Rose. The following week, Jericho and Darby Allin. Then you had Jon Moxley versus Pac. Then we finally get the AEW Tag Team Finals, which was SCU defeating the Lucha Brothers, which was an upset, I think we all thought.
Definitely.
Then you had Kenny Omega and Adam Page taking on Jericho and Sammy Guevara. For the tag team titles, Guevara and Jericho challenged against SCU, but SCU prevailed. Then we got, which was a dream match, Moxley versus Darby Allin. Then we got Kenny Omega versus Pac, as well as Chris Jericho versus Scorpio Sky for the AEW World title. That was both on the same night. Then the following episode, we have Moxley versus Joey Janela. So it was, Dinosaur version versus himself. Then we had a Texas street fight with Santana and Ortiz versus the Young Bucks. And then Young Bucks versus SCU. That closes out 2019. That was the beginning of their first run on TV. That's the end of 2019. Now we move into 2020. Now remember, as I start to list this, you're going to remember where the pandemic starts to kick in, for sure. I think I actually list it. But here we go. In the beginning of the year, we had Pac and the Lucha Brothers taking on Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks, which you alluded to, the Death Triangle. Then we get Moxley. Is he not going to join the Inner Circle? That whole shabacle. Then we get Bash of the Beach, which is Darby Allin versus Pac. Then the following week is Chris Jericho Cruise, which is Pac versus John Moxley. Chris Jericho and Santana Ortiz versus Darby Allin and the Private Party. Then the following week, MJF and Cody, the 10 Lashings. The
Lashings. Wow, that's right.
Oh, yeah. Then we keep the ball rolling with John Moxley as he takes on Santana. Remember that fiery promo we loved?
That was the eye thing, yeah.
Then we get, Then we get the steel cage the following week with Cody and Wardlow with that infamous moonsault off the top. And the match that you have talked about, the 30-minute Iron Man match with Pac and Kenny Omega. Following week, we get Moxley and Darby Allin taking on Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara. Following week, the latter of the two, Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara take on Dustin Rhodes and Adam Page. And then the pandemic hits in, which is when Brody Lee and Matt Hardy debut, as well as you have Cody and Adam Page with the Young Bucks taking on the Inner Circle. It was the first time really giving a shot in a completely empty arena. The following week, we put on a AAA title match with Kenny Omega and Sammy Guevara. After that, we get Cody and Darby Allin versus Guevara and Shawn Spears. Interesting pairing, but we got to work some things out here with the pandemic because I think guys were starting to get COVID and they had to kind of take time off. The following week, we get Cody versus Shawn Spears. Then, John Moxley takes on Jake Hager in an AEW World Title match. Probably the best I've ever seen Jake Hager.
Yeah.
We get the TNT quarterfinal matches. We have several matches of those between the next couple of weeks, and that would come up in the finals coming up. But we also have Jericho and Guevara taking on Kenny Omega and Matt Hardy. Probably starting to make you think about the golf cart shit, isn't it? That's always fun.
Golf cart? That was, yeah.
Yeah.
Sammy took a hell of a bump on that. I don't care what you say. It was impressive.
Yeah, he sure did. WWE tried to redo it. They did all right.
They did pretty good. We popped.
I
we
think
were watching that together. We both popped when we saw that. Owens did a good job.
Yep. And now we start to get the terror over the next couple of weeks. Now, again, first, I'm going to stop right here. We're at May 6th of 2020. About halfway through their run, actually, almost. Have you heard a lot of rematches?
Rematches / modifications. Not a whole bunch of rematches, more modifications because they're pushing the same people at those times. I mean, you're putting your main stars in the main event during that time, so maybe a little bit of a trade off, but not a lot of straight rematches. A couple maybe.
I 100% agree. Now you're going to start to see where some guys go on a push or a tear. I think this is where they start to. I think this is where the first year of AEW they kind of hopscotched around, just had some fun, and I think the second year, even though in the middle of the pandemic, they decided to smarten up because you were up against WWE who was really not doing well. I mean, they were throwing people off the top of fucking buildings during this exact time with the Money in the Bank. So, really, you could do anything at this point, just make it decent. Which is where I follow up with May 13th. So I'm going to move on here. May 13th, 2020. Brody Lee defeating Christopher Daniels in a really good match, but a good squash match at that. Then we get Matt Hardy and Sammy Guevara, where their feud starts. Then we get the Inner Circle pep rally after the pay-per-view for the Stadium Stampede. But also on that same night, in a white truck, shows up FTR. We get their debut finally, which is funny because I remember this is kind of our later end of I think season 1 or season 2, and I remember things are starting to come to a close, and it was during the pandemic, and we were waiting for FTR to finally show up, and they did. Cody does win that TNT title at that Double or Nothing pay-per-view. Now he's going to start to defend it on a pretty decently weak basis. So you have Cody on this next match here versus Jungle Boy. Great man to put it up against on your first defense. Next week, Mark Quinn. Okay. The following Dynamite, we get Best Friends versus Jericho and Guevara. Then we get the following week, the biggest thing of the night is Jericho and Orange for their face-off, because they're going to eventually have their, orange juice match or whatever that ends up being when they finally face off with each other. The next 2 weeks, we have Fyter Fest, night 1 and then night 2. Night 1, you have Omega and Paige defending against the Best Friends. They win. And then night 2 is just that match, Jericho and Orange Cassidy. The next week, we get Brian Cage trying to go after Jon Moxley's world title. Moxley retains. Then we get Jericho and Hager against Jericho Express. Mixing it up a bit, starting to like this. Then we get a team that we've seen before, Moxley and Darby Allin versus Brian Cage and Ricky Starks. Starting at that Team Taz versus Darby Allin fight that we're getting here. Now, right now, we're about to talk about August of 2020. So, here we go. Jon Moxley defends his title against, his partner from the week before, Darby Allin. If you don't remember that match, banger of a match. You knew Darby wasn't going to win the title on Dynamite, but it was a great match. Then we follow up with another Jericho and Orange Cassidy. Then we get the squash that we all didn't think would happen. The TNT title on August 22nd of 2020. Brody Lee beats the piss out of the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, and we get a new champ. I mean, I'm kind of sad that it was in the honorable mention, not higher, but hey, that list is what it is. It made sense. Everything that you did. But it was just more, I guess, personal reasons, because, God, we didn't expect Brody to beat the shit out of Cody that quick. The following week, we had a tables match with Sammy Guevara and Matt Hardy. I think this is where Matt caught that table or that chair right to the face. They started really getting dirty in these hits. The following week, Brody Lee defends his title for the first time against Cody's brother, Dustin. Then we get a hidden gem, the parking lot brawl. Santana and Ortiz versus the Best Friends. I don't care. I think that's a hidden gem. The next main event we're talking about is Shawn Spears and Matt Sydal, who had just recently slipped into the company at the pay-per-view.
Oh, jeez. Yeah,
you're welcome. The next Dynamite, we have Moxley and Kingston for the world title. Then the following week, Moxley defends against the Butcher, because you were like, if anybody's going to get this title, it may be the Butcher. Then we get what is unfortunately Brody Lee's last match in AEW on October 7th, 2020. A chain match against Cody Rhodes, where Cody regains the TNT title. Also on the same night, it is Chris Jericho's 30th anniversary. If you remember how much that was celebrated in that time. Then we had the world title match the following week with Lance Archer taking on Jon Moxley. Then, I don't know, this night was just a double banger. You had Dinner Le Debonair, as well as Pentagon, I don't remember which name he was using at that time, versus Phoenix, or Felix. The following week, Omega took on Pentagon. After that, the following week was Cody and the Guns taking on Dark Order. Following week, we got Pentagon and Phoenix once again, and this is the one where they nearly killed the shit out of each other, and that's where we're like, he is going to die, which was really shitty because a couple weeks later was the unfortunate thing with Brody, but we were making a lot of jokes. We're like, Phoenix going to be dead. The next week, Butcher and Blade took on Lucha Brothers, and then Winter is Coming was the following week, where Sting returns and Omega defeats Moxley for the AEW World Title. They do a World Title switch on Dynamite. I'm all for it. I loved it, especially for the night that Sting returns. TNT says, don't do that shit to us again. And to round off the new year, the following main events were MJF and Orange Cassidy, then Joey Janela versus Kenny Omega, and the Young Bucks versus Butcher and Blade. And then to finish off 2020, we had what you talked about earlier, the Brody Lee tribute show. So now we're about to talk about 2021 very soon. Let me ask you, again, going back on the flow of things, have you seen the consistency for storylines? But I personally, my own self, while I made this list of very, I think, a giant lack of consistent rematches. Very few rematches that we're seeing here.
I mean, yeah, it's, you can see. I think I kind of alluded to that earlier. Was at first it was your names, it was your Bucks, it was Jericho, it was Omega, but as we're progressing, you can tell that other people are starting to come in and other people are starting to get elevated, and those are the people that are starting to take the primetime spots, and you're able to do that without repeating too much. Obviously, there's going to be some repeats because there's factions and there's long feuds, so that's not uncommon. But it is not the 50-50 booking where the same people wrestle every week for 8 weeks in a row.
Exactly. I mean, we may get Jericho and Guevara versus Page and Omega 2-3 times, but it would be almost 3 months apart, and I'm okay with it then if that's the fact. But like you're saying, if you do it 6 weeks in a row, well, I don't care. I've seen everything they can do together. I just don't care. Just fast forward to the end. Yep. These matches kind of keeps you involved. But let's quickly run through 2021. We start off New Year's Smash, Omega and Phoenix for the world title. Then followed up with TNT title with Darby Allin and Brian Cage. Then there was that Inner Circle Tag Team Challenge where, it was 2-2 versus 2 in a triangle match for some weird reason. And then they're like, all right, good match. We're all still together. Still don't understand that one, but okay. The following week, well, we knew that they had showed up around this time. We finally have the Young Bucks and the Good Brothers taking on the Dark Order. Then we get Beach Break. Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers against Jon Moxley, Pac, and Phoenix. Then we get Kenny Omega and Kenta, which we talked about earlier, versus Archer and Jon Moxley. Following week in, let's see here, we're about mid-February, Kingston with Butcher and Blade against Moxley, Archer, and Phoenix. Remember they were trying to push that whole Butcher and Blade with Kingston thing? Yeah, that just kind of fizzled out pretty quick. Thank you for that. The following week, your main event was Lance Archer versus Phoenix. After that, you had Matt Hardy and Mark Quinn against Adam Page and John Silver. No one gave a fuck. The following week, though, it was the Inner Circle War Council and the formation of the Pinnacle, which was kind of a big turning point, I feel like, in AEW, because now we're having a couple of factions. We're starting to get some wars, kind of like you're saying. You got stables versus stables. We're going to see some different stuff. Speaking of, I think a sleeper of a night that people maybe not were ready for was the March 17th edition, 2021, St. Patrick's Slam. Lights Out, Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa. I was right. It was Lights Out. And then the match also on that night was Penta versus Cody. The following week, we had Darby versus John Silver for the TNT title. The following week was something that you and I were a little upset about. You had the Arcade Anarchy, Miro and Sabian versus Orange Cassidy and Chuck Taylor. Who gives a fuck? The next week seemed weird to see Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers against Jon Moxley, your world champion, and the Young Bucks. Well, Derp. Yep, they turned. That's right. That's the night that the Elite was pretty much completely forming all together. So that was April of 2021. Seems like not too long ago, right? I mean, it seems like ages ago, but not too long ago. Rounding out, we got Darby Allin versus Jungle Boy. Then we got Darby Allin versus Dark Order's 10, so it'd be Preston. Then, oh man, May 5th, 2021, Blood and Guts. Well, the rule of this match was as soon as you entered, you had to bleed right away, because that was the rule. Inner Circle versus Pinnacle. Everyone was a little, whatever about the ending of the match where Jericho falls off and, would you want him to fucking die in a thing of like nails? Whatever, dude. I thought it was a decent match, but it was shit on for the ending of it. The following week, we get the real Miro defeating Darby Allin, and he is our new TNT champion. And Jon Moxley took on Yuji Nagata. Then we got the Young Bucks versus the Varsity Blondes for the tag titles the following week. The week after that was a celebration of the Inner Circle. Then we had a Texas Bull Rope match out of nowhere with Dustin Rose and Nick Camarado. Apparently we must have been needing to watch AEW Dark at that time. Then we had Team Taz versus Dark Order. The following week, a cage fight that was also a little shit on was Wardlow and Jake Hager. Then we got Kenny Omega and Jungle Boy. Then a match that really made me happy was the coffin match between Ethan Page and Darby Allin. Even after he put Darby in the coffin, he fucking coffin dropped on top of the coffin. That's how you do it. The next week, we had a Texas death match for the U.S. title. Jon Moxley and Lance Archer. And then, do you remember just a little bit earlier this summer when MJF was putting Chris Jericho through the ringer? Well, this is when Nick Gage showed up and we had the Fight for the Fallen death match. Oh, that was fun. The next week, he had to face off against longtime rival from WCW, Hoovy. And we also got the first Malachi Black and Cody Rhodes match. Following week, we get Jericho and Wardlow. Finally, we get Jericho and MJF, which we don't know why, because the payoff would have been better at All Out, but whatever. The next week, Malachi Black beats the ever-loving piss out of Brock Anderson. Then we get the All Out Go Home show where the Elite take on Jurassic Express, but then All Out happens. We know what happens there. The following week, we get the Homecoming show in Ohio, Dayton, Ohio, if I'm not mistaken, where Jon Moxley takes on Minoru Suzuki. The next week, Moxley and Kingston took on 2.0, and Adam Cole took on Frankie Kazarian in his first Dynamite match and debut match. Then we get the Grand Slam. Kenny Omega and Bryan Danielson, as well as Britt Baker versus Ruby Soho. And then a night that I was banned from the building, not because I'm an asshole, but you were in the building. Rochester, New York, Adam Cole versus Jungle Boy. And we get the TNT title change as now our recent champ, Sammy Guevara, defeats Miro. Still questioning that one, but hopefully it pays off. The following week, we got the Casino Ladder match where Adam Page comes in and finally makes his return, but we also got Sammy Guevara versus the new Bobby Fish, or newly acquired Bobby Fish. The following week, we get Danielson versus Bobby Fish. The week after that, Danielson versus Dustin Rose in a tournament for the Eliminator, as well as Cody Rose and Malachi Black 3. Questionable ending, of course, that we've all talked about. CM Punk makes his debut on Dynamite against Bobby Fish. Sammy Guevara versus Ethan Page. We also get Miro squashing the shit out of Orange Cassidy, making him some pulp. And then, we did have that Full Gear pay-per-view. The following week, Nope. Hang on. Right before Full Gear, we get Bryan Danielson versus Rocky Romero. Then we get the Full Gear pay-per-view. Last week, we get Jay Lethal versus Sammy Guevara. And then this past week, before that, we get CM Punk and MJF's banger of a promo. Like I said, we have a lot of ebbs and flows. A lot of things have gone on. But to be honest with you, I don't find a lot of repeats. I find a lot of storyline crossovers. Things are still going. They have some forbidden doors that are being knocked down, but at the same point, they're putting on everything I named. I wasn't just naming a match. I was naming your main event match. Not many main events were repeated. How many times in watching did we see Orton and Cena on just Raw, let alone a fucking pay-per-view? Right. What I'm saying is in the first 3 years, I think they did a very consistent job with their main event statures, but also at the same point keeping those storylines going. That's what I wanted to say. Like, you have your ebbs and flows of consistency, and I think they're starting to show a better flow, especially with what we've seen with how Punk is getting a slow build. MJF is getting a much better build after he lost to Jericho. Now he beat Darby. He's moving on to Punk. We're on to bigger and better things, and I think 2022 is going to be even better. So from there, O.D.M, as we close out for this episode, what are your predictions for 2022 in AEW? Do we have a new world champ? Do we have new tag champs? Is Britt Baker going to be dethroned? Do we have new debuts? What are you thinking?
Man, I almost want to say yes to all of them. Oh God, I'll start with the easy one. We'll start with debuts. There's definitely going to be a debut of some kind. There's still speculation about Bray Wyatt. And there's other potential signings too. You got your Keith.
Briscoe brothers have been backstage. Yep. Seen backstage recently. I would love to see them debut. I'm thinking maybe post Final Battle, which is happening in just a couple of weeks in December. Maybe once things are tied up there, they'll say, all right, now I'll jump over to AEW. Let's hope.
Yeah, it's certainly a possibility. And so I mean, that's an easy one. Baker dethroned, I think at some point they're going to. I would think it's going to be Ruby Riott or Ruby Soho, unless somebody else comes in. Hopefully it's not Riho. Though
I would like to see longtime rival Thunder Rosa eventually dethrone her. It wouldn't be a bad storyline. Like, well, you've tried to beat me before, you couldn't. I'd be okay with them in a pay-per-view. I don't think they've given them pay-per-view status yet. Let them main event a pay-per-view, and I'd be fine with that.
Right. Tag champs is
just my idea there.
The tag champs, that's a little tougher. I just don't like how they have it. Like, I have nothing against Penta and Phoenix having them. It's just I'd rather them be on FTR. I really feel like they should have swapped belts. I'm hoping that's what happens. I really don't have a clear view because the tag team division is kind of weird right now. It's not that there's not talent. It's just I feel like the exposure's not getting there. I'd like to see Proud and Powerful get in there a little bit more, do a little more tag.
Totally.
So there's that. World Champ, I think it's going to happen. They've done the long reigns with everybody pretty much, and it seems like they've gotten through the initial. You wanted to get it on Page. The question is, how soon is that going to happen? And how much is Kenny Omega going to factor into that? Because again, you've got enough talent there between Danielson. You've got Miro. There's some other potential stars as well. MJF, you could even factor into that. So I think it's gonna happen. There'll be a title change next year at some point. I don't have a good feel on when that's gonna happen.
I think the obvious point too would be if he dethrones Page, you have your maybe perfect obvious go back to Chicago and have Punk and Danielson at All Out 2021.
Right.
You can build all the way to that. I'm on the same page as you. I would love to, I want to see someone or a team like Santana or Ortiz take the titles right away. I'm a huge fan of them now. But even more so, I'm a giant Mark and Jay Briscoe fan. So if they were to come into AEW, them versus Proud and Powerful, take my money. Hey, as a matter of fact, can you guys do it at Revolution in Orlando? Because I just might be there. Hey, look at, I'm on the same page with you when it comes to predictions, and I can't wait to get back to it when it comes to season 4, because that's a motherfucking wrap. It's over. Season 3 is in the books, just like 3 years of AEW. I appreciate everybody who has listened to us from all the way from season 1 to now, or even if you just began just recently, doesn't matter to us. We appreciate it no matter what. We love to bring you a lot of good wrestling and good flicks, so there's going to be a little bit of minor changes to next season. Let's talk about season 4. Here it is. First, we will be back on Wednesday, January 5th. Just remember, the first Wednesday of January, it's Wednesday. You know what that means. Issue for that. We're going to be recording one day prior to the 3-day Wrestle Kingdom 16 event that is to be, so we won't be able to know anything that's going on at that time. It'll be in the middle of it. We'll cover it the following week. Here's what you will be able to expect next season. We're still going to bring you news. Of course, we're still going to be talking about AEW results, and I highly doubt WWE will even be around by the beginning of 2022 at this rate. So we'll have very little that we'll need to talk about other company-wise. Hopefully, Ring of Honor makes a rally. That being said, we are going to keep up with our Monday Night Wars. We are going to keep up with our every other week flow, if you've noticed, where we have Nightwing's good shit of the week, and then we also have our top topic of the week. And, just to kind of throw out some ideas here, I've got a couple of top topics that are on the way for next season. We do have the top and worst moment of the year for the last 30 years. Thought that's a lot of fun. Around WrestleMania time, I thought, we have never really had a chance to really list off our favorite WrestleMania matches. We'll be talking about that. Funniest characters, and of course, one of my favorite things of all time that we will be talking about, or favorite topics that we've kind of set up here. It's called Gone But Never Forgotten, the era of NXT. Isn't that kind of sad?
It is.
So we have a lot of great topics on the way for next year. But as always, just like everything in wrestling, the card is subject to change. The last couple of seasons, we've toyed around with movies and their respective quotes. Next season, and shit, look at that, next year. I can actually say next year for the first time. Next season and next year, we're going to have a new twist on what we're going to do with the movies. O.D.M, what's the major plan when it comes to chatting about the flicks?
I have no fucking clue.
All right, cool, good talk. No, you're a dick. We did talk a little bit about this. What we're going to do is, after we've gotten the wrestling out of the way, just for the fun of it, because wrestling is all about storylines. Wrestling is all about keeping you intrigued, just like a movie or just like a TV show. We're going to talk, cinema. So we'll have a little bit of a segment that just kind of caps off the end of the episode. If you want to listen to it, great. If you don't, fuck yourselves. No, I'm just kidding. Don't really. No, it'll be something a little bit extra. Since you already know that's what we do. We love to throw some quotes around anyway. But that being said, this season is over. And you know what? Nightwing will be back next season. The Doc, O.D.M. Joe Rizzo, he'll be back next season. I'm the Professor. I'll be back next season. And I bid you a farewell. And as always, you know that O.D.M. loves to leave us with just any movie quote he can for the week. And this week we had a lot of fun. We said, fuck it. It's any movie that we've done for the week. And I could think of no better wrestler that O.D.M. should leave us with for season 35, or season 35,
not that
Christ.
far.
Season 3, episode 35. It's been a long episode, man, all right? I want him to do it in the form of Joe Rizzo.
Oh, thank God. I was pretty much going to do that anyway, so it kind of works out. I was wondering for a second if you
I
cut
know,
out,
because you said
hear
it so many times. I was like, I'm going to have fun. Just tell him it's him today.
Oh, Kelly Kapowski, I'm looking at you. You wore blue so you could hide. I don't blame you. You're a tramp. That's right where you wanted. Oh, Kelly Kapowski, you're a little monkey woman. You know that? You're a little monkey woman. You're lean, you're mean, and you're not too far between either, I bet, are you? Like to wrap your spikes around my head? Hey, Tiger, come get it, bitch.
Was that Caddyshack?
Yeah, it was.
Boom! See you next season, bitches!
The Top of Wrestling Podcast is brought to you by The Top of Wrestling Podcast. Your hosts are The Professor, Mark Fantasia, and O.D.M, Joe Rizzo, with special weekly segments by Nightwing the Analyst, Rashawn Hilton. Without your continued support, it would just be some guys talking wrestling. Feel free to interact with the show on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, and by email at thetopofwrestling@gmail.com.
You can be all the things you always wanted to be. Beautiful, sexy, easiest 1, 2, 3.
Just let your soul go. Just let it shine through. Just let your soul go, baby. Feel so silky smooth. Just let it shine through.